Welcome back to the Retro Wave. I am your host, El Tiburon, aka Retro Tiburon on all the social medias. We conclude our Summer of Movies theme as we rank our favorite fantasy movies of all time. I got three special guests here. Three guys that would be anyone's fantasy. Speaking of fantasy movies. Let me introduce. Whoops. Wrong button. Hold on. I got a button for that. Hold on.
We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
I feel like that sound effect is very appropriate for how I started today. We're doing it live, folks. But yeah, let me introduce everyone here. First time on the podcast, a fellow podcaster. He's your daddy, Vince from the Dad Level Podcast on YouTube. What's up, Vince?
Nothing much. Welcome. Thank you for having me aboard.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, why don't you tell the people, since it's your first time here, in case, like, I feel like there's a lot of crossover with our channels, but why don't you tell the people kind of what you do on YouTube?
So I started doing YouTube as a podcast. I felt it was the easiest way to actually put something out there because you don't have to go through the hurdles. There's no extra loopholes. And I started doing a podcast as a way to capture stories and memories with my family, my friends, for my son, just in case I died, there's to be this archive out there. But we talk about pop culture. It's really kind of a celebration of pop culture. We talk about toys, video games, movies from a dad's perspective. And I do streaming on my channel, as well as like daily I was trying to do daily stuff, but now weekly vlogs on occasion when I can get them out. I do some streaming, of course. Yeah, that's about it.
And it's at Dad Level Podcast on YouTube, right?
Correct.
There we go. Another first timer, one half of the Best of Bond podcast. He also wants to know, what are your top 5 favorite video games? From the at My Top 5 YouTube channel, we got Wubs. Welcome, Wubs.
Hey, thanks, Tib. Thanks for having me here. Hey, everybody. Very happy to be back. It's been a while since we've done this, but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, to tell the people, because you just started like your YouTube kind of channel. Why don't you tell the people what you're doing on YouTube and also what you're doing with Tylord?
Yeah, so my channel is called My Top 5, and I interview my friends about their 5 favorite video games, and we might do movies eventually. I'm not sure yet. I've branded it that way, so I guess we're going to do that eventually. And I've got, I think, 3 or 4 episodes out now. Tylord and Dad Level Podcasts have already been featured in episodes, and Tib is up next. So if you're interested in learning about Retro Tiburon's 5 favorite games, that's going to be coming out soon.
It's just a bunch of shitty LJN wrestling games. Spoiler alert. I'm just kidding.
Well, regardless of what you think of the list, the cool thing about my show is I feature a lot of game music for whatever the picks are. And all of the music on my show is generally remixes. It's free use music. So even if you've played the games before, you're gonna tune in and hear new music remixes of some of your favorite songs in the background. Even if you hate everything we say and you hate the picks, you'll hear some cool music. I guarantee it.
There you go. At My Top 5, right? On YouTube.
Yep. And also, the other show I work on is with Tylord, as you mentioned, the Best of Bond podcast, and we do it. Usually it's a weekly series. Sometimes it's bi-monthly. It just depends on how busy we are. But we have already done a 6-part Best of Bond review where we went through basically every question you could imagine as far as favorites related to the James Bond books and films and video games. All of them. Like we cover all of it, and we're working our way through right now all of the Bond films, doing in-depth reviews. Usually they're 2 hours or so for each film. And Tylord does all the editing for the video. I do the recording for the audio. So it's a team effort, coast to coast. He's West Coast, I'm East Coast. So it's been a really fun project to work on.
Yeah, very cool. And last but not least, he's a regular here. His fantasy is having a brunch date with Cynthia Rothrock. He is the professor, Tylord Stevenson. What's up, Tylord?
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, Tim, for having me again. I've been hyped up. I've been thinking about this for a while. Always hyped up to be on your show.
Yeah, thanks.
Especially when we're talking about movies like this. I love the fantasy genre. I can't wait to hear your guys' picks.
Yeah, this was actually, now that you bring it up, this was actually Tylord's idea, I think, about a year ago. He just said, hey, we should do one on fantasy movies.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then I kind of like ignored him because I'm like, man, I don't know anything about fantasy movies. But then I ran out of ideas. So I was like, guess what? We're doing the fantasy movies episode. But let me ask you guys. I'll start with Vince because it's a very broad, like a theme for a podcast. What are the checklists for a fantasy movie, Vince?
I mean, it technically doesn't have to be in a medieval setting. It could technically be just something beyond the normal day-to-day, right? So you want to have a mystical element. You want to have believable characters going through a fantastic journey that takes the audience along for a great ride. I mean, you want to have magic, you want to have sword fights, whether it be with laser swords or not. So it's, for me, playing D&D was one of the things. So
there you go.
For fantasy.
What about you, Wubs? What boxes do you need to check off to be considered a fantasy movie?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because I struggled with this list. This was a hard list for me to come up with, and I'm still not really satisfied with it, if I'm being honest. And that's because I couldn't really decide, very clearly what fantasy was. I sort of ended up with this definition of fantasy is, like Vince said, it could be a medieval setting, but doesn't have to be. It's good if it involves something unexplainable that, as far as we can tell, has no scientific basis, was sort of what I came up with, because otherwise it would be science fiction. So things like Star Trek, The Matrix, Star Wars, stuff like that. Like, I really consider that stuff more science fiction, even though it's very arguable that a lot of that is fantasy, if you want to get really technical about it. But for the purpose of this list, I'm considering that stuff science fiction, and sticking to what I would say is more pure magic type ghosts, strange phenomena, that sort of thing that's totally unexplainable and, as far as we know, not real at all.
Yeah, there's not many parameters for the fantasy movie list, but there was one because Vince actually was like, hey, are we going to do sci-fi fantasy? And I said no, and the only reason I said no, just being transparent, is because last month I recorded a sci-fi movie list. So I was like, okay, because then a lot of those movies are going to repeat that, So I was like, no sci-fi. So that's the only parameter, just no sci-fi. Everything else we can debate whether it's fantasy or not.
Well, and I know you and I were talking about, I mentioned horror as something too, because so many horror movies, you could argue they're really fantasy movies by the definition I just gave, right? They involve ghosts, goblins, witches, immortal beings, even something set in the real world like Halloween. Michael Myers is essentially an immortal being that is totally, it's never really truly explained, like how he survives all of the times he dies, right? So to me, that's fantasy. It's horror at the same time, but I still think of it as like sort of a fantasy horror story.
Yeah. What about you, Tylord? What boxes do you need to check off to be a fantasy movie?
Yeah. You know what? I could have had another like 36 top fives if I included everything I thought was fantasy. I'm kind of more sticking to the swords and sorceries and Dungeons and Dragons and wizards and princesses and fairies type fantasy, like that probably originated with like Dungeons and Dragons or J.R.R. Tolkien. But I mean, there's way more. Like I would even say, I know we're not counting it, but I could easily put Star Wars as my number one fantasy movie. And
me too.
Yeah, and it's like far as horror goes, like I almost was gonna say like Army of Darkness is like a perfect fantasy movie, but I picked that one, but but that would that could easily fall under the category as fantasy.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm more sticking to like the magic and dragons and wizards, more medieval type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too. I kind of stuck to that, but I think it'll be fun because there's just to be transparent, I got everyone's list. You guys don't know each other's list, but I got the list, and I was like, okay, like, is this one a fantasy? But we can have that debate once we get to the
Okay.
I'm curious to see how many of us like pick one that's similar to somebody else's, or is somebody else pick as well.
Yeah, it'll be fun. We're gonna get to those lists, but you know, guys, we got to pay the sponsor. So we're gonna take a little commercial break and come right back.
Even Fairy Winkles, see, they're moving in with me. Fairy Winkles, Fairy Winkles.
Time to play with Tick and Todd.
They come to live with me.
They're in my secret nursery club.
I believe in Fairy Winkles.
And who's hiding my jewelry box? Prim, Proper, and Biscuit.
Believe they're magical, yes I do. I believe in Fairy Winkles.
Tea time?
Don't you?
I do. Me too.
Me too.
Fairy Winkle's nursery clock and jewelry box, each sold separately.
Do you guys believe in fairy winkles?
Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Fairy tales.
Yeah, there's probably gonna be some fairy talk in here. One of our movies. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through. We all picked our 5 favorite fantasy movies of all time. We're gonna go from number 5 to number 1, and I'm gonna let Tylord go first. I'm gonna play a little trailer of his number 5 pick.
Okay.
And we'll get right into it.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
It sounds different. Because for the first time, it's digitally restored and remastered in digital stereo sound.
That makes a difference.
And on the big screen everywhere. The Wizard of Oz Special Edition. You've never seen Oz like this. Rated G. Starts from...
At number 5, Tylord has The Wizard of Oz.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I couldn't go without putting this on the list. This was like the very first fantasy movie I ever saw. Probably every kid all the way back to like 1939. This is probably the first fantasy movie they ever saw. This is something popular in my household when I was a kid. My grandmother loved this movie. She would dress up like the Wicked Witch of the West at Halloween time. She loved this movie. It's not really conventional, like I was saying, like your sword and sorcery type fantasy, but I mean, it's about a fantastic world, like a fairy tale world, and a little girl from Kansas goes on an adventure and meets a talking lion and a talking scarecrow and a talking tin man, and they go on an adventure, and they end up battling a witch and flying monkeys, and they meet the wizard. There's a little bit of deception going on. It's a cute, fun kids movie with a lot of singing, a lot of catchy little tunes. What I noticed about this movie, maybe after I became an adult, was the first half of the movie is a musical. There's quite a few songs when you're meeting the characters, and you're meeting Dorothy. Yeah, I think she sings a "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" song when she is in Kansas, and then she ends up in Oz. The Twister takes her up to a magical land of Oz, and she meets all the Munchkins and Glinda, the Good Witch. And there's all kinds of singing and dance numbers and everything, like really, really good stuff. But I noticed after they meet the wizard, it kind of turns into an action adventure movie. There's no more singing. It's all about them going on a quest, like a fantasy movie. Like, go collect the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West, and I'll send you home. So it kind of turns into more of like an adventure fantasy movie after the first half. And I think a lot of movies have borrowed from this ever since, like even Star Wars and just so many cool looking, like you kind of see similarities between C-3PO and the Tin Man. And the Wicked Witch of the West, really great, like movie villain, probably top 5 movie villains all time. Like the original, like even before Darth Vader and all the big baddies. Really scary villain in this movie. Kind of funny too. I always like the Wicked Witch in this. Really bossy, evil person. Even her alternate version that's in Kansas, Mrs. Gulch, was a really rotten person. Yeah, which is kind of ironic. I guess that lady was super nice in real life. Wubs and I were just talking about From Russia with Love, and the mean lady in that, that played Rosa Klebb, was like super nice lady in real life. Just like in this one, really mean, terrible witch, but a really nice lady in real life. And you got Judy Garland in there singing songs, sweet little girl. Kind of just your everyday average little girl that goes on an adventure, and that she's not really a fighter or a warrior or anything. And actually, none of all of the characters in this, the heroes, are all kind of underdogs. None of them are really good at fighting or anything, but they kind of improv and get the job done. I just really like this movie. All the silly characters, the silly creatures. This was a movie that we could watch every day when I was a kid. So number 5, I had to put it on the list, Wizard of Oz.
Any thoughts on this one, Vince? Wizard of Oz?
So did y'all ever, or Tyler, did you ever read the book? Because the book is very dark compared to what we got in film. And I've always, after reading the book, I was like, I really wanted to see that actually translated into a film.
Wow, that'd be cool.
They've tried to do like these prequel movies that just never pan out for it. I was hoping that the one with James Franco would have continued.
Yeah, the Sam Raimi one. Yeah.
There's a new one coming out, right? Like a prequel?
Oh.
Another prequel, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was the 80s sequel that Disney did. That one was a little bit more creepy.
A Return to Oz.
I think it was the Tom McFarlane toys as well that were the more creepy version of it.
Yeah.
What about you, Wubs? Any thoughts on Wizard of Oz?
It's a very solid pick. I can't argue with that. And I think Tylord was absolutely right that so many children, that was their introduction to fantasy, at least in film. It was certainly one of the early fantasy movies I saw. I've seen it probably, throughout my life, I've probably seen it at least half a dozen times. So, and it's magical too, not just for the story, but the way that it was filmed was such a big deal. And that transition from Kansas being in black and white, the old film style, to when she gets to Oz, it turns to color and all the film is colorized, and it's it must have been a pretty cool thing to see.
Yeah, that must have been mind blowing back in the day.
Yeah,
that must have been cool. I just want to know, what's Tylord's favorite song from the movie? Which song would little Tylord dance around to and sing to?
They were a lot of them were the same song. If I only had a brain, or if I only had a heart, or if I only had only had the nerve. No, I like all of them. I can't really place my favorite.
All right, cool pick right there. We're gonna go to Vince's number 5 pick now.
Heroes come in all sizes. But adventure doesn't come any bigger than this. Willow. Whoa! Coming in May to a theater near you.
Number 5, Vince, you've got Willow.
Movie directed by Ron Howard. I mean, this is a movie that I loved as a kid. I mean, I remember getting the mugs and everything, or the glasses with the pictures and stuff on it. And then you got the metal figures, because they didn't actually have real action figures for it. But you're talking about a movie that had like Warwick Davis, and the last thing I remembered him as a kid was, as Wicket in Return of the Jedi. But, you have this young apprentice wizard who gets thrust this adventure upon him, no fault of his own, to save a kingdom and a world from an evil witch that's basically trying to take over, kill all firstborn children that have these marks that could be her downfall. You got Val Kilmer playing Mad Mortigan. Man, great character. Love him. I think that was one of the movies that made me fall in love with him as an actor, and like I loved every movie he's been in since. But just what was captured with that film, it was a Lucas film, so ILM was there to help with the special effects and everything. You had people turning into pigs at one point in the movie, which was really scary. You had this magical quest. It was like an RPG. You sit there and you go on this adventure, and then you meet your other cast of members that you're going to play with, the party. And it was a fun time. I enjoyed it. I watched it many times. I enjoyed the NES game, of course. I don't know. I didn't think of much to say about this other than I love the film. It was really good, and it ticks all the boxes I feel that represent a fantasy movie. It's fun. It's something for the whole family. There's a little bit of suspense, a little bit of horror, but full of action and magic.
Yeah, very cool. Wubs, have you seen this one? Willow?
Oh yeah, I liked it when I was a kid too. I really enjoyed it as well, and I agree with Vince too. I like all the Val Kilmer movies that I've seen. I don't think I've ever seen a Val Kilmer movie that I didn't enjoy. So yeah, it was a good movie. I liked it a lot.
How about you, Tylord? I know you've seen this.
Oh yeah, I love this movie. And to tell the truth, I don't think I've seen it that much. It's not one I watch over and over, but I did see it when I was a kid at the theater, and it like blew my mind. I know it wasn't really well received at the time. Like everyone was saying, "Oh, it's a medieval Star Wars ripoff. Like that's a bad thing." But the bad guy even kind of looked like Darth Vader, the main henchman. Like, but he had a skull.
Yeah.
It might have even been the actor that played Darth Vader, wasn't it? The bodybuilder.
I think so. What, David Prowse?
Yeah, I think it was him. But anyway, yeah. And there was like an evil witch, sort of like an emperor type character, and then Mad Mardigan, sort of like the Han Solo type character. Yeah, really cool movie. Like Vince and Wubs said, just like it checks all the boxes for your like a perfect fantasy movie right there. It even kind of has like reminiscent of like the Lord of the Rings. Like the main character is almost like a hobbit.
I've never seen this
Warwick
one.
Davis's character Willow.
Yeah, I've never seen this movie. I've never seen Willow.
Oh wow.
You need to.
It's
definitely worth watching.
I mean, obviously, I'm aware. It was like kind of a big thing back in the day.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it. I've only seen him in Leprechaun because that's the same guy, right? Warwick Davis.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool pick. That was Vince's number 5 pick. We're gonna go to Wubs' number 5 pick now.
Where do we start?
We begin with a word. Magic. We harness energy and shape reality. And defend the world from those who would destroy it.
That does sound fun. You cannot stop this, Mr. Strange. It's Doctor, actually. Rated PG-13. Get tickets now.
At number 5, Wubs has the first Doctor Strange, the OG Doctor Strange. Tell us about this pick.
Yeah, this was kind of a hard one for me, if I'm being honest. I'm a big Marvel fan, and I like a lot of the movies. So, but I picked this one out of the more fantasy focused ones, or what I consider to be more fantasy. It deals with really like multiple dimension stuff, and it deals with, as far as we could tell, magic, and it's got, Doctor Strange gets one of the Infinity Stones, the Time Stone, and he can change time. He can basically create infinite time loops and things like that. And that's how he beats the interdimensional being that's trying to destroy Earth and our whole universe. Dormammu at the end, he uses the Time Stone and just catches him in an infinite time loop, basically trapping him so he can't progress any further, which I thought was such a cool foil to a villain. At the end, basically, like, you don't beat him, but you make it impossible for him to win, and I thought that was really clever.
Yeah, when I first saw this on your list, I was like, Doctor Strange, but I'm like, well, there is magic, and like, there's magic, right? So I could see why it's fantasy.
And in some ways, like, I enjoy this movie a lot because of, he's this when he starts out, he's this brilliant surgeon. He's never failed in any of his surgeries. He's trying to keep this perfect record. And then he's like really cocky, a really cocky kind of doctor, and very full of himself. And, just a split second mistake when he's driving his car on a mountain, he crashes and, is in this horrible auto accident, and his hands are basically ruined. So he can't practice, surgery anymore, and it's totally destroyed his life. And he tries all these things to get better, all of these physical, medical things to get better. None of it works. And it's not until he's like just beaten down so hard that he like has to open up to ideas of spirituality and mental powers to potentially heal him, And I like that story. I think that's a really great story that is very relatable for a lot of people. So it's a redemption tale, at its core. And I like that one a lot as far as the Marvel movies go. It's definitely one of my favorites, so I thought it'd be a good one to include here.
Yeah, very cool. I know Tylord is not a super big Marvel guy. Very, very limited in what he likes in Marvel. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I've seen it. I do like Doctor Strange. And I think he's kind of cool how that guy, I didn't even know who the hell he was until I saw that movie. But he kind of turned into like the coolest superhero, like in all of those newer like Avenger matchups.
Yeah.
Like just from that movie, like I didn't even know who that guy was. Then all of a sudden, like he's like the coolest one. so I kind of like Doctor Strange. And the thing about that, before I forget, the bad guy in that, Mads Mikkelsen, that's the only guy I can think of besides Christopher Lee who's been a bad guy in a Marvel movie, a James Bond movie, an Indiana Jones movie, and a Star Wars movie. Oh no, he was not a bad guy.
He was a good guy. He was a good guy.
He was a good guy. He was a good guy, but he was in all those franchises.
Yeah, I was
well, we could debate that though, right?
Because he was working for the Empire.
He did work for the Empire.
He did still build the Death Star. So
yeah.
I was waiting for the first James Bond reference.
Yeah. You might get more.
About 15 minutes, 16 minutes. Vince, what do you think of this
that's a record for us, Tylord.
Yeah. Oh, no, I said one earlier about Rosa Klebb, too. This is my second.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Forget what I said. That's not a record.
That was like 3 minutes in. What do you think of this one, Vince? Doctor Strange.
So the cool thing about like Doctor Strange was like, for one, I got to know about the character from my dad, because that's one of his favorite characters as far as in the Marvel universe. And he's this ultimate wizard, this magician, right? So you got this origin story, and it's the perfect like tale of introducing a average day human to the world of magic. So it's it becomes a fantasy story just in that dynamic. And I agree with the choice. It's great. It's a great film. I need to see the second one. I still haven't watched it yet, just because so much going on. But yeah, good pick. I like it.
Yeah, I saw this one, and also like Tylord, I never really knew about Doctor Strange. Like I knew him, like I would watch like the Fantastic Four cartoon, and I think he came out like once or something. I was he kind of looks like old, and I don't know. I don't think he looks that cool. I like Spider-Man and the Hulk. But then when I watched the Avengers, I was like, he became one of my favorites too. I was like, oh, this guy's like has all these little magic tricks, and he's very crafty. And I like that one where he's battling Thanos. I think it's is it Infinity? Is it Endgame or is it Infinity? The other one.
Yeah, it's Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, and that's what's the other thing that's so cool about him too, right? Is like he really is like one of the key characters in the Infinity War saga, which is kind of awesome,
Well, he's also the character that ushers in magic into the MCU. Because before that, they didn't exist. Even with Thor, they made it seem like it was just more technology than it was actual magic or mysticism or whatever.
Yeah.
So it brings in vampires, it brings in the demons, it brings in Ghost Rider. There's a lot of things it could bring in, but it's slowly being trickled out. So we'll see.
Yeah. And multi-dimensions too, right? Was that the first one with multi-dimensions?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool pick. You sold everyone on this being a fantasy movie. Cool pick right there. All right, I'm going to go to my number 5 pick now.
Everything he ever loved, they destroyed.
them help. Mark Singer, Tanya Roberts, the Beastmaster.
Sunday at noon on Paramount 20.
Remember that, guys. Sunday at noon on Paramount, Channel 20.
There you go.
Number 5, I've got, and I'm showing the copy here, The Beastmaster. I got the 4K copy right here.
Yeah.
I actually watched this one today, right before we recorded. I was like, I'm saving it for the last movie I watch, because honestly, I thought it was going to be my number 1 pick. It still made the list, but I was like, damn, I'm surprised it wasn't my number 1 pick. But still a really fun movie nonetheless. I like that he has like his, he has the panther and the little ferrets, and he has his, a falcon. And I remember watching this one as a kid and loving it. I thought it was so cool. Like, oh man, those ferrets, they're cool. I wish I had some ferrets like that to cause some mischief. And it's the guy, Mark Singer. He's very skinny, right? He's very skinny. When I watched Conan, I compared him to Conan. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, man, this guy's not as big as Conan. Conan can kick this guy's ass. But then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, but he has these little animals that he sends out. And he's very crafty. And just a fun movie. My favorite scene of the whole movie, I think, is when I forgot the bad guy's name. The freaking bad guy military presses this little like red-headed curly-haired kid. He throws him into the fire pit. I don't know why that cracks me up. But I got the Beastmaster at number 5. Have you know this one, Vince? I'm sure.
Yeah, I've seen it quite a few times, and it's kind of like, in a way, it's He-Man, kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe a better He-Man than the movie we got, but
yes, this is the He-Man movie we should have got. Damn it. Yeah, but you like this one then? You dig this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What? I need it in my collection. We used to have it recorded on one of my VHS tapes. My dad's. You would go and record like a bunch of movies from HBO or Showtime on a VHS tape, and it would have like 4 or 5 movies on there. So
yeah,
just put one in and watch whatever.
Yeah, one of the scenes that would make me cringe as a kid, and it still made me cringe a couple hours ago, is with the eyeball ring. And that I forgot the guy's name, but he like jabs it like with a fire poker or something, the eyeball, and it starts bleeding. I'm like, oh, that looked brutal. Wubs, have you seen this one, The Beastmaster?
I've heard of this movie a lot, but I've actually never seen it. I'll definitely check it out though. Now that you said it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Tylord, I know you've seen this.
Yeah, and how about that girl in there, Bond girl Tanya Roberts? Cue the sound effect.
I got a sound effect for you.
Yeah, a lot of pausing in that movie with Tanya there. Yeah, no, I like this movie. It's awesome. He is, like you said, he looks like Arnold could just snap that guy in half, but he is like a well-built young man, and he has all of his animal powers. So yeah, Beastmaster's cool.
Yeah. I forgot about that scene. Maybe because I saw it on TV so much as a kid. Maybe they didn't have that scene, but the scene where Tanya Roberts and the other lady are, taking a little swim in the lake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Why didn't you lead with that, Tib? Shut up and take my money.
And then he sends
buy it now.
Yeah, he sends like the ferrets, right? The ferrets to go steal their their bra or something.
Oh, so he is clever.
Yeah. I think my favorites, my favorite animals were the ferrets. I thought they were really cool. I wanted those as a kid.
I had a friend who had ferrets when I was in school, and they were awesome. They were a lot of fun. They're crazy. They're a handful, but they're really cool little critters.
Did he ever send the ferrets into like the girls' locker room to snatch a bra like in this movie?
I don't think that his ferrets were that smart.
All right. Well, that was we went through our number 5, so now we're gonna go back to Tylord, and we're gonna check out Tylord's number 4 pick.
Will always come first.
Clear is dead. You may have heard tales of damsels in distress.
I'm killing myself once we reach the honeymoon suite.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But you've never seen anything like the Princess Bride.
Inconceivable!
She gets kidnapped He gets killed.
I've seen worse.
But it all ends up okay.
Have fun storming the castle.
The Princess Bride, a new comedy by Rob Reiner, rated PG. Special sneak
Number
preview.
5, Tylord has The Princess Bride.
Don't worry, I'll start getting some more macho movies later. I think you're surprised I have Wizard of Oz and now Princess Bride. I think I have one or two that'll make up for it at the end. Yeah, but 1987 Princess Bride. Oh, I love this movie. This always warms my heart every time I watch this. Directed by Rob Reiner, and I didn't realize it actually is a novel written by William Goldman. I know that the grandpa Columbo's reading it to Wonder Years at the beginning. Peter Falk's reading the book to Fred Savage. It's kind of a cute movie where the kid is sick and his grandpa comes over and reads him a book, and then it goes into the movie, The Princess Bride. Cute little fairy tale movie about a kind of a love story, a little adventure, and our boy Andre the Giant's in it. Probably this might be my favorite movie with a wrestler co-starring. This maybe in They Live. I can't think if there's any ones I like more than They Live and Princess Bride. But just cool that Andre the Giant's in it and he plays the giant. There's so many funny little characters in this. This movie's so charming. The main guy, Cary Elwes, that plays the Robin Hood in the Mel Brooks movie. He's like a young farm boy that loves the owner of the property, the girl, and he goes off to sea to work, and he ends up dying, or pirates kill him, and her heart is broken, and she swears never to love anyone else until like the evil prince forces himself upon her. But then he comes back in a mysterious way, and there's a fun little adventure. There's fun little side characters. The group of little bandits, they're kind of bad guys, but they end up being really likable. There's Andre the Giant and Mandy Patinkin that plays Inigo Montoya. Inigo Montoya, I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. He's on a mission to find the guy who killed his father. Really fun character, and he has a cool sword fight with the Man in Black. That's always one of my favorite sword fights in a movie. Really seems like something classic, like out of like an Errol Flynn or Basil Rathbone type fight. And then the bad guys, that really sleazy, dislikable Prince Humperdinck, played by Chris Sarandon. Kind of an unconventional villain, but really dislikable and smarmy type guy. I love this movie. Not really anything like there's a giant rat, but there's no really dragons or ogres or anything other than there's mostly just a giant and a giant rat. But cool, cute little movie, a cute little love story. Kind of. I like the little banter between the granddad and the grandson. When he's reading the book, like the grandpa's reading him all the mushy stuff, and he's telling him, "Grandpa, stop reading me kissing books. I hate kissing books."
Why did you stop, Grandpa? We need to read a little bit more.
Yeah. And the kid acts like he's too good for it. Like, I don't want to listen to this. And then and then you can tell, like, the more the grandpa reads it, the more he's interested. And he's not letting on that he's interested, but he really is digging the story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I was when I first saw it. I go, what's this lame movie? And I think my mom rented it. And I go, wow, this movie is so good. And there was Andre the Giant. Like, how can I not like it? Yeah, so Princess Bride for me.
Yeah. What about you, Vince? What thoughts on this?
Oh, man, this is a staple in my house. I mean, we watched this so much as a kid. I mean, the rodents of unusual sides.
Yes.
I don't believe in it. But I mean, there's so many quotable lines in the film.
Yeah.
It's the movie that made you fall in love with Cary Elwes and like what he does. I love it. It's got so many great actors in it.
Robin Wright. I forgot to mention Robin Wright that plays the princess.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah, Billy Crystal's in it. Yeah, a little cameo.
Yeah.
Cary's also the guy from Saw, right?
Cary, yes, yeah, he was the
yeah. Yes.
all he had to do was crawl over to the tub and get the keys out, not cut off his leg. But no, man.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this one, Wubs? Have you seen this, The Princess Bride?
Oh yeah, I've seen it a few times. It's also like kind of like Willow, something I watched more when I was a kid and really enjoyed. But it's for all ages, really. Like I'd definitely watch it again. It's a good movie. I love our favorite part was probably my family would always laugh the hardest at the whole inconceivable bit where he kept having the word games with Carrie was having the word games with the guy who just kept saying inconceivable.
Yeah.
And no one knows who that actor's name is to this day, I'm sure, but we all know him when I say the inconceivable guy. If you were around in the 80s, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
That's crazy. Yeah, he's so iconic, that little guy. His name is Sean. What's his name? Wallace Shawn, but I didn't know that until I researched it right now. Every time you see him, look Vizzini or the inconceivable guy. That's
yeah. But I mean, come on. Before we end this part right here, it's just like you got marriage. You got to have the.
What about boo boo?
Yeah.
You know what? I watched this one this week too, and I had Tylord on one of my swap meet videos, and he picked up a Andre the Giant figure, and he started imitating Andre the Giant. And at first, I thought, Tylord, you were cutting like a WWF promo, and then when I was watching the movie, he was going saying what Andre said in this part at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
What was it? What was that part? What was that part?
I don't think the word.
Yeah. I am the Dread Pirate Robert. I am here, but soon you will not be here. The Dread Pirate Robert has come for you, so.
When I first heard you on the video, I thought you were talking about Jake the Snake Roberts. I was like,
oh yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts.
I was like, oh, that's what I put one and one together when I rewatched the movie. All right, yeah, cool pick. Popular pick right there. We're going to go to Vince's number 4 pick now.
Within these woods lurks a mystery. Within this city waits revenge. Within this heart lies adventure. Whether he wants it or not.
I do not believe what I believe, Lord. These are magical, unexplainable matters, and I beg you not to make me a part of them.
Matthew Broderick in Lady Hawk, rated PG-13.
Number 4, Vince, you've got Lady Hawk.
Yes, of course. Another great film starring Rutger Hauer, Matthew Broderick, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Also, Alfred Molina's in this movie, too.
Oh, wow. Dr. Octopus, right?
So basically, Matthew Broderick plays a thief who escapes out of prison, ends up getting into trouble, stumbles upon Rutger Hauer, who has this hawk, and as he finds out that the hawk is actually his Rutger Hauer's character's wife, or soon-to-be wife, because they're technically lovers, and basically they're cursed by a bishop. So whenever it's day, Rutger Hauer is a human. When it's night, he becomes a wolf, and vice versa. Michelle Pfeiffer becomes a hawk during the day, and she's human during the night. So they can never. The only way they can break the curse is by seeing each other and being witnessed by the bishop who put the curse on them and their human forms, and that can only be done through an eclipse. It's a really good film, awesome, really good love story. Unusual characters meeting together for a quest that they kind of didn't want to do, which is kind of similar to Willow.
Yeah. I had never heard of this one. Have you seen this one, Tylord?
It's been a while. I got to revisit this. I'm a big Rutger Hauer fan. Though, I remember I do like this movie, though, but it's just been so long.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Blood, is it called Flesh and Blood, was pretty good with Rutger. Kind of off the subject, but that was another fantasy type one. No, this is good. Yeah.
What about you, Wubs?
Yeah, but I can't really talk about it because it's been so long since I've seen it. I got to rewatch this one. It's Richard Donner, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, wow.
You seen this one, Wubs?
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it one time, and I really liked it. It was one of those movies. It was like a bunch of friends got together back in the day, and we'd watch like a random movie like once a week, and that was somebody's pick one week, and I'd never heard of it before that. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna have to look for this one. The cool thing I like having people on here to talk about movies that know their stuff is I get to like discover new movies, so then I can be on the lookout and be like, oh, I remember when Vince brought this movie up. Let me snatch it, for $1 or $2 when I'm at the swap meet or at a yard sale. Very cool. I have to keep an eye out for this one.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go now to Wubs. Wubs number 4 pick.
One stage of your journey is over. Another begins.
This Christmas, return to the legend. Return to the journey. Return to the adventure. The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, rated PG-13.
Lord of the Ring, Two Towers at his number 4 pick. Tell us about this pick, Wubs.
You guys thought it was going to be the Return of the King because the announcer kept saying the return.
Yeah.
Oh, pulled the rug out at the last minute, right? Yeah. No, the Two Towers. I mean, it's the second of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and I was a big fan of the books as a kid. I was very fortunate that my parents read me both the Chronicles of Narnia, The Hobbit, and The Lord of the Rings when I was fairly young. So I got very into fantasy from a young age. And the movies came out when I was in I guess early high school. And The Two Towers was definitely my favorite of the films because it's a great movie. It's really entertaining and everything, but I'd be lying to you guys if I didn't say it's my favorite of the films because it's my least favorite of the books. And the books are just, if you've read the books and seen the movies, you know there's way more in the books than there is in the films. And they did the best they could, I think, with 3 to 4 hours for each one, but there was a lot of stuff that had to get cut out of all of them. So yeah, is anyone not familiar with the story? I mean, the story is, it's the continuation of the Fellowship of the Ring. Sauron is this evil dark lord who has created what is it like? There's like a bunch of different rings for each race, right? Like 9 for men and 5 for the dwarves and 7 for the elves, something like that, and 1 ring to rule them all. That the protagonist, Frodo, this little hobbit, gets right at the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring and has to take it back to the land where Sauron lives, Mordor, and throw it into Mount Doom, this big volcano where it was forged. That's the only power in the world that is strong enough to destroy this ring that gives Sauron ultimate power. So the Two Towers is the second part of the story, and it's hard to describe without describing all of Fellowship. So, how deep would you guys like me to go into it? I could be here a while. It's a pretty long story.
What are the cliff notes? The cliff notes on the Fellowship.
Yeah, the cliff notes. Gosh, let's see. Well, basically, in Two Towers, the big story is that the Fellowship from the first book is broken up. So all of the representatives of the different races they're on this quest with Frodo to take the ring to Mordor, like I said. But at the end of that first book, they get separated because they're in a big battle. And so in the second book, The Two Towers, they're working on different things. So Frodo is trying to get to Mordor still with his friend Sam, his best friend. So then he's also another hobbit, so they're by themselves trying to get to Mordor, and their other friends are lost, and end up in this forbidden woods where they encounter Gandalf, who's a wizard that you thought was dead in the Fellowship of the Rings, but turns out he survived And well, he sort of died and is reborn, but there's a lot of details there. And they all go to this place called Rohan, which is one of the last strongholds of men in the world that hasn't been destroyed by Sauron yet. And there's another wizard there, Saruman, who basically builds this army of super strong orcs to fight the men. And so the Two Towers is really like comes down to this big battle between the men of Rohan and all of the orcs from Saruman. And it's called the Two Towers because Saruman's tower is like one of the biggest, or like that's one point of power, and then Saruman's tower is the other point of tower, or the other point of power in the world of evil, and they're on opposite sides kind of the map. So the theme is that evil is taking over everywhere, and the Two Towers is representative of that battle, and it's sort of like, I hesitate to say like an Empire Strikes Back, but it does kind of feel like that because it's sort of like they barely hang on throughout the course of this book to make it into the third part, right? So there's a lot of big battles. The animation was amazing for this thing at the time. This came out in like 2002, I want to say, right? 2003, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And the scale of the battle between all the orcs and men at Helm's Deep was incredible, And it's also a great story about everybody working together, right? Because at the beginning of this story, it's like all of the races are sort of broken up, and they don't really trust each other. The men, the elves, the dwarves, they all have these like long histories of distrust, and it's going on for generations and things. And so the big part of the fellowship was each race had a representative, at least one representative, that was going on this quest for the common good. And it's really cool in the Two Towers because it's the first time you see like actual armies come together to help each other fight the orcs. So the elves show up, Gimli's there. There's not really a lot of dwarves. I think there might have been some in the book, but it's hard to remember. It's been a long time since I read it. Vince, do you know? Do you remember?
It's been a long time. I mean,
yeah.
Now that you're talking about it, I need to go watch the films again because I have the extended cut I got on Blu-ray for all three, but I don't remember.
Oh, nice. Yeah. But anyway, the elves show up. Some of the elves show up like right at the last minute to help the humans fight the orcs. And that's pretty cool. And then, of course, Gandalf comes right at the end of the battle when you think all is lost, and wipes out like all the rest of the orcs. So with the riders of Rohan, the riders show up with all the horsemen. Yeah. So it's this really big, just epic battle movie. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, Merry and Pippin, the hobbits, Frodo and Sam's other friends from Hobbiton, they also were on the quest and were split up, and they found themselves in that same forest, I think, but they encountered these creatures called Ents that are trees. They're trees that can walk and talk. Which sounds really weird, but it's really cool when you see them, and the way they animated them was really awesome in the movie. And they have to convince the Ents to go to war against Saruman because he's been, just clear cutting all of their forests and killing a lot of their friends. And finally, they convince them to attack Saruman's tower at the end. So that battle's happening the same time the Battle of Helm's Deep is happening, and it's pretty awesome altogether.
Very cool. Any thoughts on this one, Vince? You said it's been a while since you've seen this one.
I mean, the big thing that I remember is the whole Shelob thing, and then
right at the end.
But I mean, I loved it. You of course, this is the one that has both Gimli and Legolas sitting there kill counting.
Yep.
And it's just great to see the banter between the elf and the dwarf. But yeah, great fantasy film. I mean, all three of them are fantastic.
I've never heard Tylord talk about Lord of the Rings. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, no, I love Lord of the Rings. I saw all of them at the show. I read all the books before I saw them. Yeah, I love these. I think this is like the peak of cinema right here. Have you seen them? If you haven't seen them, I know that's a lot to take in what Wubs just said, but once you watch it, like it'll make sense.
I've seen.
Then the second one I think is the peak. Like the third one might be the longest and have the most action and won the most Academy Awards. And I think the first one might be my favorite, but the second one right here is like a sweet spot where it has a wonderful battle at the end. Like it's almost like you're outnumbered and the odds are against you, and they just keep fighting and fighting and fighting. They're like in the Helm's Deep, this city castle, like on the edge of the face of a cliff, right? And all the orcs are just
built into the mountains.
Yeah, all the orcs are just funneling in. And they keep fighting, and then you think, oh, there's nothing more they can do, and then of course here comes the elves, or here comes the Riders of Rohan. Like it's a really cool, a lot of like the orcs crawling up ladders, like and I don't know if you ever played the video game on PlayStation 2. My brother and I were so into this movie, we bought that game and we would play that game all the time. It had a really cool adaptation of that Helm's Deep battle on the video game where you're going around knocking ladders over and fighting orcs, and you could see in the background like just all the little ants. They look like ants, all the little orcs funneling into the Helm's Deep. Yeah, but great,
really
movie.
Fun game.
Yeah.
Something to mention here is the fact that you had the Two Towers animated Ralph Bakshi.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was really, I mean, that's another thing I grew up with, and being able to see that translated even more from the book.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. And also the Rankin and Bass ones. There was a Hobbit and a Return of the King. Those were pretty good.
Yeah, because I think the Return of the King they'd use rotoscoping for.
Yeah, it was creepy as heck. Yeah,
it looked weird.
Yeah. It was as good. Yeah, that movie gave me the creeps, kind of like Wizards. Do you ever see Wizards? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think I've
heard of all of those, but I haven't seen them yet. I'd like to watch those animated.
Oh, dude, you'd love those.
Well, I have The Hobbit on my my Voodoo account, so.
Oh, cool.
There you go. Is that the animated one? The Hobbit?
Mm-hmm.
It's from the 80s or something?
Yep.
Okay. That might have been 70s.
Yeah, it was 70s. I think it was. Let me look that up.
Yeah, I think I've only seen the first one and the last one. The first one's where that dude gets beheaded at the end, right? Like that.
Yeah.
I just remember that. And then the third one, I was like, what's going on? Because I never saw the second one. I know what was happening. But I do remember that game, The Two Towers. I remember we binged that. Like, we played through it like in a day one time.
Yeah.
My friends and I.
Wow.
It's like a hack and slash, right?
Yeah.
You can block and counter. Yeah, that was a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
I watched my dad play it. I was playing other stuff at the time, so he still has them.
I knew nothing about the story, but I remember that game being really fun. The combat in it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Wubs. What pick was that, Wubs? That was your number 4 pick. I'm going to go to my number 4 pick now.
He bows to no man, but to bring back his only love, he'll have to battle a god of darkness. Arnold Schwarzenegger is Conan the Destroyer. Saturday night at 10 on TNT.
So I've got Conan the Destroyer at number 4. I first watched Conan the Barbarian, which is the first one, I think, right? And I kind of thought it was a little boring, a little slow.
Really?
I didn't really dig it. And then I saw this one, and I was like, this is the one I remember seeing as a kid. And it's a little bit more, it looks like a little bit more like PG-13. I don't think there's really any gore in it, or not a lot of gore in it. But man, I was like having a good time watching this one. I think just because I remember seeing this one as a kid, it's got Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. You got Grace Jones, I think is her name, right?
Yeah.
That little like Asian magician guy.
Yeah.
And my favorite character as a kid was that little thief, that little cowardly thief guy.
Brother, sisters.
Yeah. Well, Mako was the You got you know.
Yeah,
Aku
Mako. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got transported to when I was like a 10-year-old that fight scene he has with that monster with the mirrors all around. I was like, oh man, I remember this. I used to love this as a kid when he would fight that. He was like a mirror monster thing.
Yeah, it was like a WWF match.
Yeah, he puts him in like a freaking razor's edge. He puts him like in this arm submission thing. It's like a WWF match. So I was like, oh man, this is the one. I like this one better than Conan.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit more campy. It doesn't take itself as serious. It's more jokey, I think. I really liked it. I had a fun time watching it. I also could have been like done with it once they rescue that girl from that castle in the sea. I was like, I would have been good with it ending right there. But then it goes on like another hour, I think. But fun movie. I had a fun time watching this one.
We got the monster that attacks the castle after that when they put the horn in and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that was Andre the Giant.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, is that where that picture comes from? Where it's like Andre, Will Chamberlain, and they're holding up Arnold? Is that what?
Yeah, they're holding up Arnold. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was a. Hold on, I got a button for that too.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that was Andre the Giant. So what are your thoughts on this one? Have you seen this one, Wubs?
I don't think I've actually seen that one. It doesn't ring a bell.
I know, Vince, you've seen it. What are your thoughts on this one? Do you think this one's better or the first one? You like the first one more?
So I like both equally because you get the origin of Conan with the first one. Of course, like I have to say this since my dad's not here. He's a big Conan fan. Like I grew up with him reading the Robert E. Howard books, the comics. He had a Frank Frazetta painting over our mantle of the the fireplace of Conan with whoever it was. But like I think it's James Earl Jones's character was actually like Cole's or villain, not his villain, the one who turns into a snake.
Really?
But like I felt like the Destroyer had like it was more of that RPG role playing. You built a party, you went on a quest, and then like when they get back, it's like they rolled a 1, so everything just goes bad, and they just have to figure it out as they go. But no, I loved it. I love both of them. They're great films. Great cast of characters that work together. Great pick.
I'm glad you brought that up about the RPG because when I was watching it, I was like, this would be a cool beat 'em up. How cool would it have been to have like a Conan the Destroyer beat up?
Oh, that'd be so awesome! Yeah,
coined it here.
Well, and it's kind of like that for what is that? Golden Axe.
Yeah,
Golden Axe is kind of like that, right? Reminds me of Conan a bit.
Yeah.
Has that been confirmed that Golden Axe just ripped off Conan?
Oh, I don't know if it's anything official. It's just having played the game and now that I remember it, I'm remembering it a little more clearly now because I know I've seen the first one, and it's been so long since I've seen them. It's but I think I have actually seen the second one. I was just really young when I did. I loved them both. I thought they were both great.
Yeah,
when I was a kid. But I think Golden Axe was quite similar, or at least it was as close as we got to a Conan game back then.
Yeah,
that was
visually, dead on. It's visually like Conan.
It's supposed to be Arnold, right? I mean, the guy Axe Battler.
Well,
he's got to be Axe Battler's got to be based on Arnold.
And as a kid,
the girl looks a lot like Red Sonja.
The
360 game is really good. If you get
the one that's just called Conan?
I want to play that at some point.
What kind of game is that? Like a hack and slash?
It's like God of War beat 'em up. You go around as Conan doing different quests, just beating up stuff. There's maidens that you need to save that are not wearing clothes.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Why would they be? It's a barbaric sort of time and place.
What did you say? What is the meaning of life?
The death
to
cries
destroy
of
your
men.
enemies and hear the lamentation of their women.
When I was watching this one though, I was like, man, the whatever that mirror monster, he looks kind of like doesn't look that great now. Like it didn't age well, but when I was a kid, I remember being scared of that. Freaking, I was like scared. Like when I would be on TV, I'd be like, "Oh shit!" If I saw that, I would crap my pants. But yeah. What do you think about this one, Tylord?
Oh, I love this. I love all those exploitation, like those Italian, like sword and sorcery movies, or those like Italian barbarian and exploitation movies, like from the 80s and the 70s. And this is like one of those, only like mainstream Hollywood with a big budget. I love this movie. And we got our girl Grace Jones in there, Bond girl / Bond villainess in there.
Yeah, she's a funny character.
Yeah.
And Wilt, I noticed they kind of like...
Oh, Wilt Chamberlain,
They use them well, because he doesn't say a whole lot. He'll just do like a little stare or say like one thing. And yeah, cool. Fun movie. All right, we're going to go now to Tylord's number. We're in the top threes. Tylord's number 3 pick.
Okay. You are invited to enter a world of enchantment, the world of Falcor and Atreyu, Inglewood, and the Rockbiter. I'm very pleased to meet all of you. Creatures of a boy's imagination, brought to life by the magic of the never-ending story. Rated PG, now playing.
Tylord's got it number 3, The Never Ending Story.
Yeah. Now this is a fantasy movie right here. This always captured my imagination as a kid. It's all about, the whole movie is all about imagination. Like this is like the ultimate 80s childhood fantasy movie. Like all kinds of cool puppets and practical effects. It almost feels like the Legend of Zelda, like maybe Legend of Zelda kind of borrowed from this. Like when you see Atreyu riding around on his horse, and he kind of reminds you of like Link, like a Link type character. And the story is about a young boy that's having problems at home and problems at school, and he kind of is trying to escape his life. He hides out in the attic of his school and starts reading this book that he stole from the bookstore called The Never Ending Story. And it kind of has magical powers. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, so I probably won't go into it. But this is the movie that always captured my imagination, just like the visuals of it. I know it was based on a book by a German individual, and I don't know if it's that great of an adaptation, and I don't know much about the book, but I love this movie, and I love the music, and I love the creatures, and the little wolf. What's the wolf called?
I have no idea.
Can't remember.
Yeah, the villain of the movie is super creepy. Like that thing was scary for a kids movie, and the scene where he's crossing the gate, where those the giant chickens with titties like shoot lasers out of their eyes. That scene scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. It wasn't that scary when he's running across and those giant chickens shoot lasers at him. And he walked up and there's like a dead knight there, and he's all decayed. It's just like a skeleton in armor. Like that thing is all the knights and everything didn't live up to the challenge, and they all got fried. I thought that's so cool. He has his luck dragon. What's his name? Falcor the dragon. It's a cute big, looks like a giant dog. I always thought it looked like a big white dog. His dragon that he would fly on.
It looks like
really cool
Clifford,
movie.
Like Cliff, like he was riding.
Yeah, like a giant white Clifford. Yeah.
Any thoughts on this one, Wubs? Never Ending Story.
I have never seen that series. I mean, I'm familiar with it. I've heard of it, of course. But yeah, that's another one I've actually never seen. So we'll have to check it out at some point.
Only the first two. You don't need to see the other two I think that they made.
They made four? They made
only
four?
the first two.
They made 4?
I think there's 4, yeah.
Was straight to VHS?
No, I didn't know about that.
Were they straight
to
VHS?
I mean, hey, shout out for Ryan, right? This is his favorite fantasy movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? What do you think about this one, Vince? Never Ending Story.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think I enjoyed 2 more on the fact of the father and son dynamic more, because you had come on, the guy from The Flash.
The Flash was the dad.
Yeah, and then of course Jonathan Brandis for the kid when he grew up. But no, it was just a really good fantasy movie that, you know, an escapism for a kid, like dealing with a bad situation and seeing the parallels from his life from what's going on in the book. What he sees.
Yeah. If you're getting your ass kicked by bullies, go read a book. It'll make everything
better. Yeah. No, you just grab the
go read a book about karate.
You know what? I watched this one and I hadn't seen it. I watched it a couple weeks ago and I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and I remember loving it. And I don't know.
Oh no! Don't go He-Man on this.
You ever just like you're not in the mood for a movie, or you're having a bad day, or you're like, because when I'm watching movies, a lot of times I'm doing eBay stuff, like cleaning cars and stuff. So I don't know if maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough to it, or what it was, or maybe it's this fucking 115-degree weather. But I watched it. I was like, I remember liking this a lot more. I wasn't really feeling it. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to have to leave.
I think I'm done with this podcast.
But it's one of those. I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to give
I was wondering when someone was going to say, oh, I hate that movie.
I didn't hate it. That's why I'm like, I think I got to rewatch it and see, like, maybe it was just not the right day to watch it. I think even one of my videos said, oh, I like that movie that much. And Ryan's like, you just broke my heart by saying I didn't know that was his favorite.
That's what me and Tylord say. Anybody says anything about Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
I love that
movie. Yeah. But, hey, who knows? That might come up later on the list. Who knows? Never know. Good. All right, well, cool pick. I'll have to give that movie another shot because I did love it as a kid. Like, that was one when I watched it a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, this is going to be top 5. I used to love this movie as a kid, but I don't know. I'll give it another watch. All right, this next pick is from Vince. We're going to go to Vince's number 3 pick now.
It was a time of tyrants. A time when the only way to uphold justice was to break the law. A time that made a hero into a legend. Kevin Costner is Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Rated PG-13.
Number 3, Vince has Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
I love this movie. I always love the story of, Robin Hood and everything. Just having, like, it's funny because there's moments in the film where Kevin Costner sounds like he's English, and then he doesn't. But, like, you got Christian Slater, who, like, plays a perfect British guy.
Yeah.
Even though, neither one of these actors. But, I mean, you had a great cast of characters. Alan Rickman, you had Morgan Freeman. But this film was just really good. I mean, it had really good pacing. You have Robin and his friend breaking out of a prison in the Middle East, coming back home to finding out his father's been killed and his family's been labeled witches. He ends up meeting a band of people in the woods and rallying them together to fight up against a tyrant sheriff of a town while King Richard's gone. Just fantastic movie. I mean, I think this is a movie that, like, for me, made me I think it was the first movie I ever saw with Morgan Freeman when it came out. So it was definitely something, like, from that point on, like, anything he was in, I was always checking it out. But I loved it. I love this film. The music's great. I mean, you had, like, Jeff Lynne help with the music, who's the lead singer and creator of ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. You had Bryan Adams sing a song for this one.
Can you sing us a little verse from that Bryan Adams song? Because I really like that song.
I'll do anything for. No, it's okay. I wasn't asked to do this before. No. But what's funny is this is another one on my list of a character that's thrust into a role and a responsibility, and they just have to go up and fight the injustice that's going on while keeping their integrity and changing along with the situation they're in.
Would you say this is the best Robin Hood movie? live action or animated?
So I know we brought this up before. I enjoy the Disney animated one with the animals and stuff. You know, I loved that as a kid.
Yeah.
And it was cool getting to see characters like redrawn from other Disney films in that one to be characters.
Yeah.
Like Baloo for Little John.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, to me, this is probably one of my favorites. I know that there's been other ones. You have the one from, there was another one I think that came out that was more accurate to the story. I don't remember who was in that one, but then you have.
Oh yeah, it came out around the same time as this.
Yeah, you talking about Robin Hood Men in Tights? That one?
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome too, which is another carry away. Call back to Tylord's second pick.
Yeah.
What else? There was
there's a modern one,
guy.
right? There's like a more
Yeah,
modern
one.
There was one with Kevin Costner too, or there was one with Russell Crowe also.
Russell Crowe, yeah. And I think it was directed by Ridley Scott also, honestly.
Wow.
But I mean, I enjoy. I mean, we used to play a lot of the old point click adventures that were related to Robin Hood or stuff like that. So anything with the character, I've always enjoyed.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this one, Wubs? The 90s Robin Hood?
Oh yeah, I loved Robin Hood so much when I was a kid, and this film came out, and I can't even remember if I saw it before or after the Disney movie, but I love them both so much, and like Vince said, the cast was pretty amazing for this film. I will say the last time I watched it, it was jarring to me how not British Kevin Costner sounded.
Yeah.
And that really kind of took me out of it because just I guess being a little older watching it now. But if you ignore that, it's like a really entertaining movie. And I loved Robin Hood. Like, give you an idea how much I loved Robin Hood as a kid. I dressed up as Robin Hood for Halloween probably like 5 years in a row.
Yeah,
like when I was like
awesome.
5 to 10 or whatever. Like it was like every year I wanted to be Robin Hood because I just thought he was the coolest character. And yeah, this movie was definitely part of that for sure.
I thought you were gonna say you stole from the.
Oh, I also wanted to mention. Yeah, right. What's better than that? But you guys didn't mention it, but Marion, played by Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, was really great, I thought, in that role, in that film.
Yeah.
She was, for those who don't know, she was Tony Montana's sister in Scarface as well. It was another big movie she was in before this.
Also in Abyss.
But yeah, it's
Harris.
Yeah, I saw that, but I haven't seen that movie yet. But I did see she was in it. I actually just got that one recently at the one of my store runs, so I'm gonna watch that soon. But yeah, this is a great movie. I love that one. I'm glad you. I thought about it honestly, Vince, for a minute, but I forgot about the witch. You know, the witch is really what makes that, I guess, fantasy. And I completely had blacked it, or I just forgot about that part of it.
Yeah, it was.
Well, and that's the thing too about fantasy is it doesn't have to have the magic. It could just be set in a medieval time, but there's a quest, there's an adventure. You know. One other thing I'll add real quick.
Oh, okay.
Let Tylord finish. Michael Wincott, you know, he was the villain in he was great in this movie.
Yeah.
Was
he Sir Guy, or who was he?
Was the villain in what?
Guy?
I'm sorry?
He was the he was the one that he was the cousin.
Yeah.
He runs him through.
Oh yeah, the villain from The Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's good in that.
What do you think of this one, Tylord?
And you forgot to mention Wubs, our dad, is in it. Sean Connery has a cameo.
Yes, he does. Yes,
that's right.
No,
our
like
dad.
this.
What are you talking about? He's everybody's daddy.
Yeah. No, I love this movie. I saw this at the theater. I was so hyped. I think my mom or my dad took me to see this because we were so. And I got to say the Disney one's still my favorite. but we went and saw this at the show, and it was so awesome. Like I never thought there would be a Robin Hood movie like that big and epic. Like, probably had a really high budget. No, I like this movie.
I've never seen it, but I watched a lot. I watched that Bryan Adams video so many times.
Yeah.
You know it's true. Everything I do.
Do
it for you.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get a copyright claim for that.
Yeah.
Because we sounded just like Bryan
Well,
Adams.
that was a good rendition. I don't know.
I didn't mean to sound like
get flagged there, Tib. Yeah.
Demonetized.
You guys need to back off on that talent.
All right. Well, we're gonna
go flagged here.
We're gonna go to Wubs number 3. This one, I got some questions about this one, Wubs, but we'll see what Vince and Tylord think about this at your number 3
yeah,
fantasy
we'll see
movie.
what they think.
All right, here we go.
Ghosts. They're real. They're here. And someone's got to stop them. It's a job for professionals. It's a job for the Ghostbusters.
Hey, anybody see a ghost?
They're the best. The brave. The only. Ghostbusters. Coming to save the world this summer.
We're ready to believe you. Who you gonna call?
Rated PG.
At number 3, Wubs has Ghostbusters as his 3rd favorite fantasy movie. Explain yourself. Make your case. Make your case for this being a fantasy movie.
I mean, it's ghosts, man. It's like it's not. It's all fake. It's not. There's no scientific basis behind Ghostbusters, right? It's all just made up fantasy.
What about the containment unit?
You could say, like, oh well, yeah, modern day, right? The containment unit.
I'll say this.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, yeah,
go ahead. I'll say it after.
I was just gonna say, like, scientifically, right? Like, I don't think that there's a such thing as a containment unit for ghosts. Like, I'm pretty sure that's made up.
Defend your partner. Defend your co-host, your podcast co-host, Tylord. Come on.
I was going to say, and then you can continue your story, is that maybe it's like Thor, right? Where we're just not advanced enough to understand the technology, so it's magic to us. So there you go.
Right. Could be.
Is this a fantasy movie, Tylord? Is this a fantasy movie?
I don't. If it is a fantasy movie, I should have put it as number 1 because I love Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I can see it might be a modern day fantasy. Like this could have been set in the Middle Ages with some like warlocks trying to catch in a little medieval village trying to catch ghosts. It's a stretch, but
right.
That's right. Just now.
Yeah.
Hey, great movie.
Well, in my defense, I did ask Tib several times, actually, if you remember, Tib. I asked you several times to define exactly what are the boundaries of fantasy.
I think you
didn't stop me from picking this.
I just said you pick whatever you think is fantasy, and then we'll debate it. Debate it on here.
Right? Yep. So if we were going to do technically medieval fantasy, I would totally agree with you guys. I would obviously not have picked this film. But I do have a backup, however, that I could share if I wasn't going to have this one. Right, and let me see what you think. Maybe you think this is more of a fantasy movie than Ghostbusters Hero with Jet Li, about ancient China and the unification of China that took place in the Qin dynasty.
Yeah.
So I was going to be your
That's like on the line of like Robin Hood, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it's based on it's historical fiction, basically. But there's the most fantastical elements in it to me are all of the battle sequences and all of the things that he accomplishes, with his compatriots in the war. Like it's impossible to believe that they could actually fight all of these soldiers by themselves and stuff, right? But other than that, it's real world historical fiction. So, what do you guys think about that?
Never seen it. I don't know.
I haven't seen it. It's I could see it. It's good.
Yeah, I could see it being fantasy.
But it's too late. It's Ghostbusters.
Yeah, Ghostbusters, which is cool because we always like to talk about Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we need a whole episode just talking about Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never gets old. I mean, it's just it's a wacky comedy about 4 guys who get kicked out of a university because of their crazy ideas about the paranormal, and well, I guess it's 3 guys from the university, and then they hire on some extra help later to help them catch ghosts because no one else believes that there are ghosts, and so they figure out that there are ghosts, and they set up a business in New York City called the Ghostbusters, where you can call their hotline, and if you're getting haunted by any spooks, they'll come and clean them out for you for a reasonable price, of course.
Of only $4,099.
Yeah. This could be a top 5 fantasy or horror or comedy or sci-fi, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. It definitely is a genre.
Yeah.
Crosses a lot of genres for sure. So, yeah. I have one other that I wanted to mention in place of this because I don't think I could put it in place of my other 2, and that's Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Dude, yes.
The one of Miyazaki's first films.
Oh, right.
And I didn't pick this though because I think of it more as science fiction.
Yeah.
So, but maybe that's not fair. I don't know. It takes place on a totally different planet, different creatures. Or wait, no, it maybe is it our planet, Earth? Vince? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's Earth. It just after.
Yeah, that's right. It's Earth after the apocalypse.
War that destroys everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that was why I didn't pick it because it was like, yeah, this is too much like a Terminator-esque sort of vibe. Post-apocalypse. All these creatures that have been affected by the nuclear radiation and everything. It's not really fantasy.
Yeah.
Mononoke is just as good too to be a fantasy film.
Oh yeah. I thought about Mononoke, but honestly, it wouldn't be one of my top 5 films though. Like I like it; it's a great movie, but I wouldn't pick it as like a top 5 personally.
Yeah. Hey, but that was a good debate.
How about squeezing one more summer episode of post-apocalyptic movies? Now that you mentioned it,
go. Yeah.
There you go.
It's so hot. We're living in the post-apocalyptic.
We got a lot of those.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me go to my number 3. At number 3, now that Wubs had Ghostbusters.
I know you feel like it where you are, Vince.
Yeah. No shit.
Now that I know I can pick Ghostbusters at number 3. I'm gonna go with Friday the 13th, the final chapter. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. All right. Let me go to my number 3 pick really quick here.
Put 'em up.
And my number 3, I have The Wizard of Oz. Man, I hadn't watched this movie since I was probably 8 years old. And when I re-saw it, man, it had me like cracking up. Like I love the cowardly lion, and I love how he's like trying to act all tough at first and trying to punk like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, and doesn't like Dorothy like smack him or something? He's, oh, why'd you have to slap me?
I wasn't gonna hurt him.
Put him up.
Yeah. Man, whoever that actor is, that guy, he was my favorite part of the movie.
He's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have a cowardly lion impersonation, Tylord?
Put him up.
Yeah, and kind of
like we're king of the forest.
It kind of like what Wubs brought up, like because I was watching it on Blu-ray, and it looks really good. But like seeing like the black and white, or it was kind of more brown. Like I don't know what that tone is, but like little brown and black.
Yeah,
they probably had a sepia tone. I expect.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. So, And like seeing that, I had forgotten the whole movie wasn't black and white when I was watching it, and then when it goes to the color, I was like, "Oh man, this is cool."
Yeah, it's cool.
But Tylord already said everything about it.
I forgot to mention how good the special effects are, though. Like even on Kansas with the twisters, you see, I don't know if it's back projection or what that is, but it looks like real tornadoes are going around, and there's all the wind machines and everything. It looks really good. So the special effects and the flying monkeys and all that.
Yeah, and the actors that played like the Scarecrow and the Tin Man,
Yeah.
like, no CGI, and they still kind of had like the way they moved around, like the Scarecrow guy moved around, kind of like he was off balance all the time, and
it was good.
The Tin Man moves like all robotic. Yeah, fun movie. I love this one. All right, we're gonna go to we're going to Vince's number 2 pick here.
Tylord?
Tylord? Oh, my bad. Yeah, you're right. I was trying to skip Tylord here. Yeah, we're going to go to Tylord's number 2 pick.
Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards and Witches, Magic and Revenge, and a warrior caught between. Sword and the Sorcerer. Rated R.
Number 2, Tylord has The Sword and the Sorcerer.
Yeah. And I had to pick a movie like this. I knew one of you guys would pick Conan, so I couldn't leave this one out. I love this movie so much. And it's my boy Albert Pune directed this, that did Cyborg. And I think, Vince, you just watched Radioactive Dreams. It's the directed this, Albert Pune. I love Albert Pune movies. Yeah, Albert Pune was like a straight-to-video master back then. Like, his stuff was so good that was on straight-to-video. But he did have a couple big ones like Cyborg. And I think this is his other big, well-known, like, theatrical release, Sword and the Sorcerer. And I always just assumed it was writing the coattails of Conan, but I think it came out like it was in this production the same time as Conan, if not just shortly after. But it's a typical sword and sorcery type movie, like all those wonderful Italian fantasy movies I was talking about. But this one is a higher budget. Albert Pune directs it. Lee Horsley's in it. He's the main star. I don't know if you ever saw the old show Matt Houston. It was kind of like he was like a private investigator. He was like a Texan. He kind of like a handsome looking Tom Selleck looking guy with a mustache. But he plays the main star in this. He plays a guy named Talon who was his kingdom was overrun by an evil tyrant named Cromwell. Lord Cromwell, played by Richard Lynch, and that guy's like the best freaking B-movie villain ever. Richard Lynch. He was in I know he's in the Barbarians with the Barbarian Brothers, but he was in, I think, Invasion USA. He's in all kinds of B movies. He's awesome. He kind of looks like Ric Flair. I know you'd know him if you saw him. Richard Lynch. He was in Trancers 2, I think.
Yes,
but he's a badass villain in this. He always brings his A game to all these silly movies. He's an evil tyrant that he brings a witch to unearth an evil demon, and that's actually Richard Mall plays the demon from Night Court. He summons that guy up to use his powers to overthrow his enemy's army, and then he ends up double crossing the demon and stabs him in the back at the end. But in the process, he takes over Talon. He kills Talon's parents and kidnaps his sister. And so this guy Cromwell's in charge now. And then later, many years later, Talon comes back, and he's almost like a Conan type guy. He's like a mercenary. He has this cool sword. I know you've seen it before. It's like a 3-bladed sword, and he can shoot the blades out, kind of like Legend of Zelda when you have all of your hearts. he has the 3 blades, and he can shoot it out. Really cool effects in this. It has that really cool fantasy look. There's only one other fantasy movies, if you exclude Lord of the Rings, that I think I like the look of it more. And I think we might talk about that one later, so I don't want to mention it. But this movie has that wonderful, grimy, beautiful fantasy look with all kinds of sexy women and G-strings and handsome dudes with swords and evil evil demons
that was for the G string, not the handsome dudes.
Yeah.
or both. Yeah, but I just think this is like this is like if you looked up a fantasy movie in the dictionary, this would probably be the one. Or I'm sure if you went on Google and searched top fantasy movies, this will probably be like on the first page. The Sword and the Sorcerer. This is so cool if you haven't seen it. Also, shout out Anthony DeLongis is in it, who played the sword guy in Masters of the Universe. He's like a weapons master, or he has a little role in it. Yeah, I love this movie. And Simon McCorkindale from Jaws 3 is in it. And our girl, what's her name? Nina Van Plant, that did the James Bond song, Wubs, she's in it. And they did a Christmas tree song at Wubs.
Really?
Yeah, she's in it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Does she sing?
No.
Okay. She's in the movie. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And the guy that fights, there's this really creepy like dungeon keeper in this. He's this big, buff, bald guy. It's the guy that fights Charles Bronson in Hard Times. His name's Robert Tessier. He's like this really creepy dungeon keeper. Like he tortures everyone in the dungeon. It's really cool when he gets killed at the end. But yeah, this is a cool movie. It's got dungeons. It doesn't have dragons, but it has like demons and dungeons and witches and wizards and damsels in distress and macho heroes with swords. Yeah, badass movie.
Thoughts on this one, Wubs?
Yeah, I haven't seen this one, but it sounds awesome. It definitely sounds like a movie I would really, really enjoy from Tylord's description there. So I'll definitely check it out.
Be honest, he had you at women and G-strings.
Right.
Oh, of course. But then he totally locked it down with what's her name, Nia.
Yeah.
From that singer from OHMSS. So
yeah.
What about you?
I have to see this movie now. Yeah. Nina Van Palant, right?
Yeah, it's her.
What about you, Vince? Thoughts on this one?
I have not seen this since I was a kid, so I probably remember enjoying it. I need to watch it. It's been a while, so
I've never seen this, but and putting the trailers together, I like that sword that you said. It has like 3 blades on it. I was like, damn, that looks badass. Yeah, I need to watch this one. All right, we're gonna go now to Vince's number 2 pick here.
I will not stop until I've rid the world of every last one of you. I am the last one.
Get ready for an adventure that will set your imagination on fire. Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery as Draco, Dragonheart.
Number 2, you've got Dragonheart, Vince.
Yes, sir. I mean, you have a fantasy movie with Sean Connery as a dragon that's animated really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this movie was mind-blowing back then. I mean, I think this was the best film we had. And I think this came out in 90...
Like 97 or 6-ish.
Yeah. And this was, the CGI for the dragon still hold up today. And I just got the 4K release of it, beginning of the year, I believe it was. And they had touched up the CGI to make it still hold up as far as, but it's a great story. You got a knight that is working for a king to teach his son the old ways and how to fight. The king gets killed by the village riot. The son gets basically stabbed in the heart, is dying. The mother takes him to a dragon to save him. The dragon gives half of its heart to the boy, and the boy becomes corrupted. He was already corrupted. It just amplified what was going on. And Quaid becomes a dragon hunter and kills most of the dragons except for one, and that's Sean Connery. And they bond together to basically kind of redeem the dragon. But you find out that the boy, and who's now the king, who's evil, is connected to the dragon. So one feels pain, the other feels it too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, great film. You got Dina Meyer, the actress that was in Starship Troopers, and she was in Johnny Mnemonic. Very beautiful redhead.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on
But I
this
mean,
one?
you got Jason Isaacs in this movie. There's a big cast of people.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this one? Wubs, you seen this one?
Yeah, what the hell happened to Dina Meyer? That's what I really want to know. Like, I mean, she was like
gorgeous.
Wow, miss
Yeah.
her, man. Yeah, no kidding. Like, who let her like not be in movies or whatever? Like, I'd love to know what happened there.
Yeah.
But back to Dragonheart. Yeah, I remember seeing it when I was a kid. It was an awesome movie. I think that the CGI voice synchronization for Connery as the dragon was amazing. Like it looked like they did such a good job on that. I still remember being really impressed with that the first time I saw it. And yeah, it's a very entertaining movie. I was wondering if any of you would pick it, so I'm glad you did, Vince.
Well, the whole
It's a great
practical
movie.
and CGI effects are great in the film. You know, especially when he's sitting inside Draco's mouth with the sword like this, and they're bickering back and forth, and you see the tongue moving up.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Tylord, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot about this movie. Like, I hadn't really thought about this movie until he mentioned it. Yeah, this was an awesome movie. I am the last one. I like their little hustle too, where they were buddies, and he would go have the dragon pretend like it's invading a village, and then he'd go have them pay them to pretend like he kills it. I thought that was pretty cool. It was this little hustle they had.
Right. Good scam.
Yeah.
Until it failed on them, and the village was like, meat.
Yeah.
I've never seen this one, but I was wondering about that because I'm watching the video on my end. You think the CGI still holds up? Because I know late 90s, early 2000s, sometimes with some movies can be rough. This one still holds up, the CGI?
It still holds up.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, that was your number 2 pick. We're going to go to Wubs' number 2 pick.
On November 15th, the story that captured the imagination of the world returns.
Your scar is legend.
With more magic. More mystery.
Hello, Harry. What do you want?
And more power than ever before.
We are in trouble.
Hello. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Rated PG. The second year begins November 15th.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Wubs, tell us about your number 2 pick.
Yeah, so this is one of those rare instances, I feel, where you have such an amazing franchise established from a first film, and the second one actually eclipses the first one. Like, that typically doesn't happen in my experience for really big franchises. It does happen every now and then, but for me personally, it definitely happened with Harry Potter. I love the first film, but I love the second film a lot more. And the main reason for that is I'm a fan of the books, and I feel that of all of the books, Chamber is probably the closest to the original text of all of them. And I also just really like the way that all of the action is done. I mean, the story is so cool right from the beginning. You know, it continues from the second book. Harry Potter is this sort of disenfranchised orphan who gets to go to wizard school, a school for wizards in England called Hogwarts in the first movie, and has his first encounter with the evil Dark Lord Voldemort, who murdered his parents at the end of that story, and is actually able to repel him and survive to get to this story. And in this one, it's another scheme by Voldemort to try to get revenge on Harry and ultimately kill him at the end by using his best friend's sister as bait in the Chamber of Secrets at the end. It's the secret chamber that Harry and his friends have to figure out where it's located and get to it so that they can rescue Ginny from Voldemort. So it's all just another very magical sort of movie. It's kids who are 12 years old, 12, 13 years old, running around this school for wizards and learning about how to become wizards and witches. and just very magical stuff if you're into that. And again, a movie for kids of all ages. So that's another really cool thing about it. Kids can watch it, adults can watch it. I will say there are some scary parts at the end. I mean, Harry fights this giant basilisk, which is a large snake that can turn anything to stone that looks at it. So if you look at the basilisk's size, you'll turn to stone. Yeah. So that's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Thoughts on this one, Vince?
Enjoyed this one a lot. 3's my favorite. Of course, Gary Oldman's in it. You can't go wrong with Gary Oldman. But
yeah, that's a good pick too, for sure.
It's strange for a children franchise to capture the magic and continue to do that with the source material at hand. Especially when you take a book series that may not translate well sometimes to the film aspect of things with the CGI, and maybe some of the story beats kind of get truncated because it doesn't work on film. But this was really well done, and I enjoyed it.
Tylord, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, my wife is a big Harry Potter fan, and she read all the books, and my father-in-law also. So I always go watch these with them at the theater. I always think it's fun. Like, it's usually around Christmas time we go watch them. But honestly, they all run together for me, and I get confused. Like, I can see, I try to explain Lord of the Rings to people, and they don't get it because they didn't read the book. So I think maybe if I read the books, I would kind of understand it more. But I mean, they look awesome, these movies, visually, and all the acting, top tier in these. But I don't really they all kind of blurred together for me because I'm kind of confused when I watch them. But yeah, so I don't really remember this one that much.
I've only seen the
we
first
should
one.
mention the cast. The cast is huge, right? Because you've got all the kids.
Yeah, and they all stayed through it the whole time, and they were almost grown up, like late teens by the time they were done, huh?
Yep.
How many were there?
So that was what was sort of fun about it. How many kids?
No, how many?
There's
how many movie installments were there?
Oh, well, there's 8. Because there's 7 books, but they did the last book as 2 parts, a film with 2 parts.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's if you don't count the newer ones, right? The what were they called? They were prequels about the generation before
Terrible Beasts,
Harry Potter.
Like Terrible Beasts.
Yeah, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find
Them.
Yeah.
Well, then you got Kenneth Branagh
as
the professor, the one that came.
Right.
Oh yeah. Wait. So
Kenneth.
So was Ray Fiennes? Was he Voldemort in the first 2, or he just came around later? Ray Fiennes.
I think he didn't show up until 3.
Oh, okay.
As far as him playing Voldemort.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you never saw him until the 3rd or 4th one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it's the 4th one because that's when he takes form after Cedric dies. Yeah, he gets the blood from Harry. Wormtongue gets the blood from Harry, and that's the last thing they need to complete this spell to bring Voldemort back out of this cauldron.
Speaking of
at the end of Goblet of Fire.
Speaking of Ray Fiennes, what do you think of Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez? Wubs.
Well, I'd like to give you an opinion, but I haven't seen that movie since I don't know, whenever it came out. I actually have seen that movie, but I don't remember it at all because who would want to remember a Jennifer J-Lo movie? So that space got rewritten a while ago. I say that, and yet I will also add, Anaconda is one of my favorite B movies of all time.
I was about to say you can't count out Anaconda, Wubs.
Right? No, I will give Jennifer Lopez Anaconda. That's all I'll give her, but I will give her that one.
I've only seen the first Harry Potter, and I've drank.
Oh wow!
And I've drank the butter beer at Universal Studios. That's about my extent of Harry Potter knowledge.
Nice.
But yeah, they're all good.
Well, that's pretty good
with the last film and how Harry beats Voldemort.
Yeah.
I really like the way the book ended versus.
I would imagine that the special effects just get a lot better Because there's eight movies.
Oh
right?
yeah.
I remember they got pretty dark. They got pretty dark towards the end, like almost like PG-13, right? They seem like they got really dark.
It's very sad. Like even in the middle of the story, I mean, at the end, Goblet of Fire is like the Empire Strikes Back for this series. So it's very sad at the end of it. So and then progressively through the rest of the series, it's like somebody dies in every story. Each book after that, like somebody, like a major character dies. So yeah, it gets pretty dark. The other reason I liked Chamber was it wasn't. I know this sounds bad, but it just wasn't one of my favorites of the books. And so I'm not as attached to the book, and it's easier for me to enjoy the movie when that's the case. You mentioned the third one. For me, it's always a toss-up between the third and fourth for favorite book. I mean, I usually go Goblet by default just because it's a lot longer and a bigger story, but I do love, I mean, the third one and the fourth one are my favorites of the books.
So just like Two Towers, because you said you like Two Towers, the movie, but not
same
the book.
thing.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right. Well, no, I like I like and I love the book too. I love the book Chamber of Secrets as well, but I'm just not as attached to those as I am to other books in the series. So it's easier for me to lose myself in, a film adaptation of those fantasy stories because I'm not just sitting there like I am when I watch something like Fellowship of the Ring. I'm super critical of that movie because they cut so much out of it from the story in the book. Like it's hard to express like how much was cut out of that. That
Tom
movie.
Bombadil.
Bombadil. And not just that, but like time, right? And I get it. Like they only had a certain amount of screen time. They did the best they could, I think, with the time they had. But the adventure is so much bigger in the books for the Lord of the Rings, like because this whole thing goes on for like a year, I think, in terms of like time in the book. Like it is a long journey. They have to travel vast distances, and they get into all sorts of different things along the way that you don't have time to cover in a 3-hour movie. You don't with something that big.
And they have to stop and eat every couple of pages.
First breakfast.
They made a little joke about that in the movie.
All right.
11sies, whatever that is. Yeah, eating at 11, I guess.
But cool. Well, we got a Harry Potter movie on one of the lists. That's cool. I think it would have felt kind of weird if there wasn't a Harry Potter representation. Cool pick. All right, I'm gonna go to my number 2 pick now.
MGM presents Clash of the Titans. Join the warrior Perseus on his odyssey through a magical world of wonders. Meet Andromeda, the princess he loves. Pegasus, his magnificent winged stallion. Upo, the mechanical owl. The evil Calibos. Medusa, the Stygian witches. And the most terrifying monster of all. Clash of the Titans. Rated PG.
At number 2, I've got Clash of the Titans. And this is a movie I remember seeing as a kid a lot, but not knowing the name of the movie. And then a couple of years ago, Tylord sends me this movie right here, Clash of the Titans on DVD. Of course, from Rasputin's, 3 for $10. And I was like, I just popped it on one time while watching eBay, like doing eBay stuff. And I was like, oh man, I remember. I don't know if you guys ever have those moments where you forget about a movie or you forget what it was called. And then you watch it, and I was like, I remember this movie as a kid. And like loving it. And I always thought it was like a 60s movie. Like when I was a kid watching it, I always thought it was an older movie. I didn't know it was like a 1981 movie. But really cool. It's what's the main guy's name? Perseus, and it almost feels like when I rewatched it this past week, I felt like I was watching God of War, like the video game. Like he battles like he's got Pegasus, and he's battling the Medusa, and he's battling like the Kraken, and just really, really, really cool movie. And Tylord, you reminded me of this movie. I had completely forgot about this movie till you sent me your a DVD from Rasputin's.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this one at Wubs?
I think I may have seen the 1981 Clash of the Titans when I was a kid, but I was so young I really don't remember it at all, so I can't really comment on it. But I see just the first star listed here, Laurence Olivier. That's pretty impressive. By 81. He was definitely like legendary. So yeah, definitely. I mean, I love Greek mythology, so I'm sure I would enjoy it.
Yeah. Thoughts on this one, Vince?
I mean, you can't talk about Clash of the Titans without talking about Ray Harryhausen with his stop motion. I mean, like this, the seventh voyage of Sinbad and the Golden Voyage.
Yeah, Jason and the Argonauts.
Jason and the Argonauts. Yeah, I mean, just everything that he did made like this movie a spectacle. I mean, just like the scorpions, the Kraken itself. I mean, it was just amazing. I loved it.
That's why I always thought this was an older movie, because I remember Jason and the Argonauts. Is that like 70s or 60s?
Yeah,
I think 70s.
So I always thought it was like an older movie, this one. But when I rewatched, I was like, oh, this was 81. That's kind of cool that they still use like those effects. And there's something like that scare me about them, like that. I don't know what the name of that devil-looking guy, the demon guy.
Oh yeah,
Calibus.
That guy scared the hell out of me as a kid. He looks freaking creepy as hell. Like, kind of like that freaking like Pazuzu from The Exorcist or something. I was like, that is freaking scary. That's my number 2 pick. And I had Tylord go after me because this is Tylord's number 1 pick right here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
well, it's not surprising since Ursula Andress was Aphrodite. Looks like, so, yeah.
He already got my Bond reference there. This is my favorite fantasy movie by far. Like, ever since I was a kid, this has been my favorite. And like you were saying, I always was thinking it was an older movie. Because I think the most previous one you might like, try Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. It came out like 4 years before this.
Yeah,
that one's awesome, and I think Jane Seymour's in that one, looking hot as ever. But man, Clash of the Titans. Oh my gosh, this movie. This is like, when I think fantasy, this is what I think of. When I think of Greek mythology, I think of this movie. Even though I know it's just loosely based, like they take their liberties. It's not like accurate Greek mythology, as most movies are not, but it's so fun. It's such an epic adventure about saving a princess with giant monsters, all that wonderful Ray Harryhausen stop-go animation that Vince was talking about. And I think this movie kind of didn't go over well. Like, people were talking trash about it at the time. Like, this is outdated stuff, this stop-go animation. So that might be like you kind of associate it with the 60s or the 70s. But man, I just love that animation style. I love the stop-go animation. Like you said, the fawn looking guy or the centaur looking guy is so creepy looking. And then those big scorpions are so scary. The Medusa scene, we were just talking about Harry Potter with the snake that looks at people and it turns to stone. The Gorgon in this Medusa, Perseus goes on an epic quest to get the head of Medusa to fight the Kraken, because the goddess demands that they sacrifice the princess, or what's her name, Andromeda, to the Kraken in 7 days or whatever. So Perseus and his crew have to go find Medusa's head and bring it back and fight the Kraken with Medusa's head. That scene where he confronts Medusa is so scary. Like, you see all outside of her lair, you see all of the stone men, like they all died looking at her, and then they go in there. Perseus and his crew go in there, and half of them get turned to stone. And she has an arrow too. She's shooting them with a bow and arrow, and they can't look at her. It's such a scary, creepy scene. You just hear her tail rattling. She has like a rattlesnake tail, and she has all the snakes moving around on her head. It's so cool. I love this movie. And you were talking about God of War earlier. I kind of wanted to mention in God of War 2 for PlayStation, Harry Hamlin, who played Perseus in this, actually came back and played Perseus and voiced him in God of War 2. I thought that was kind of cool.
Damn,
Wow.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you got Laurence Olivier as Zeus. Like, this is Zeus to me. Like, whenever I think of Zeus, I think of Laurence Olivier in his little throne room, and he has all of his little clay models that has all the population of the earth, like, they're little toys to him. It's so cool. I just love this movie. The main girl in there, Andromeda, is so hot too. I don't really know what that actress has been in other than this, but she almost has like that Jane Seymour look. She's really beautiful. The main girl in this.
Yes.
Yeah, you have the three witches, the blind witches that he goes and they're the only ones who knows where Medusa is, and they have the eye, and they can't see unless they're holding the eye. And he has his little mechanical owl. Oh man, I just love this movie so much. Like, I can't get enough of this, and I'm glad my wife is a fan of it too, so we get to watch it all the time. And I got my girls to watch this. I love this. I think a lot of my best friends love this movie too. I remember when we were kids or teenagers, every time we'd go rent movies, like, this had to be, like, if we went to rent the dollar movies at Blockbusters, we always had to grab this one.
Nice.
So
I love this movie.
So at this time, like, you weren't seeing that Harryhausen animation really in other movies, because you said that people were saying, "Oh, this is outdated." Like,
Well, I guess I probably didn't see those. I saw them all around the same time. I don't remember which one I saw first, but I remember I thought they all looked awesome. So they never bothered me, but it was getting more into the animatronics and the overlay stuff with it. So I don't know, maybe it was getting outdated. So. But I don't know. To me, it looks awesome. So I don't know what the complaint was.
Something about the way that they move, it's kind of creepier. Like, kind of like
Calibus and Medusa are super creepy.
Even like Ed 209, didn't they use that effect?
Yeah, that was creepy too. Yeah, people talk shit about that, but that's scary. That scared me to death.
Well, you got to think of like this around this time. You got like Raiders coming out. I mean, there was quite a bit of films that were using other technology than the stop motion.
Yeah.
So it was even like, if you look at, like you said about the film itself, it looks like it was something made in the 70s. It was like they captured that style, and most people were seeing other films that were like newer, and so it took them out of it. But I mean, I enjoyed it, but
I wanted to I got to point out the Terminator also, the stop go with the endoskeleton. I thought that was scary as fuck when the stop motion is chasing Kylo Reese and Linda Hamilton through like the back alley. That looked hella scary.
Yeah, for
There's
sure.
a few I wanted to mention just because we're talking about the Clash of the Titans and Greek myths and stuff. Several that I thought about that I didn't add, again, because I just wasn't sure the fantasy thing or not. 300 is one of the first ones that actually came to mind for me. And that, of course, is in my head historical fiction, though. So I didn't think of it so much as fantasy, even though certainly elements of it are presented in sort of a fantastical way. The same for Troy with Brad Pitt and Eric Bana.
That's a good one.
So
I thought about that one
that
too.
Could pass a little more for fantasy, probably, with the whole story of Achilles and all of that. I passed on it, but just wanted to mention it here for anybody who's interested in Greek mythology, Greek history. Definitely check those out as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, that was Tylord's favorite fantasy movie of all time. We're going to go to Vince's now. Vince's favorite fantasy movie of all time.
There is a balance to the universe. The struggle to maintain that balance is the stuff of legends.
The new film from the director of Alien.
I've found my true mate.
You disgust me.
Starring Tom Cruise and Tim Curry.
Never!
Legend. Rated PG.
Your all-time favorite fantasy movies, Legend, 85.
Yes, sir. Yeah. This movie, like anytime it's on, I'll watch it. I mean, you can't go wrong with Tim Curry as the villain, as Dark. I mean, it's got like tons of fantasy elements. You have a forest human, like elf kind of, like you think of like Tom Cruise. He's just this person that lives in the woods. So he's like Link, right? And he goes on a quest to impress Zelda, who's actually, she's not really named Zelda, but
dude, this
character she's a princess. And he's in love with her. And so he decides that he's going to take her to see something that shouldn't be seen by regular humans. And that is 2 unicorns that happen to be passing by. At the same time, you have a group of goblins that were sent by the Lord of the Darkness to kill both of these unicorns and take their horns, so that way he could bring about darkness and evil onto the whole world. And one of them gets captured, the other one gets killed. They take the horn from one of the heads, and Jack goes on a quest to save the world and just meets a group of fairies and dwarfs and goes on this big adventure to into the depths of hell to fight darkness. And Tim Curry just steals the scenes with his portrayal of darkness.
Damn, does not even look like that would be Tim Curry, like the makeup effects and everything. They're crazy. Thoughts on this one, Wubs? Have you seen this one, Legend?
No, I haven't seen this one. It's another one I've heard of, but I've never seen it. I'll definitely check it out though now, since Vince picked it as his favorite. That's impressive.
Tylord, thoughts on this one?
Okay, I didn't pick this one because I knew Vince would. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. Because you know how I like to drag these things out, so I try not to pick. Like I didn't pick Lord of the Rings because I knew Wubs would pick that. This is so. Remember I said earlier there's one movie that looks fantasy, like the visual style is better than anything else. I think maybe if you exclude Lord of the Rings, this movie has the best visual style as fantasy goes. This is like Legend of Zelda on screen.
Yeah,
this is so freaking beautiful. The beautiful princess. Tom Cruise is pretty much Link in this. The visual style is so gorgeous, and just like the whole atmosphere and the mood of this movie, it's pretty much Legend of Zelda. You got unicorns,
fairies,
you got
goblins.
Oh my gosh, this movie is so gorgeous, and Tim Curry in this. When I saw this as a kid, and they had the scene in his throne room or whatever, I'm like, that's the devil right there. That's like I'm seeing the devil incarnate on a movie. It's so freaking amazing. The special effects, his costume. This movie is so awesome. You can see, like I said earlier, Never Ending Story seemed kind of like Zelda borrowed from it, but more so this one. This movie is gorgeous. But I know there's 2 separate versions of this, Vince. I don't know if you know about the soundtrack. Do you know about which one? Which one is? Yeah, Tangerine
did the soundtrack for the theatrical, and there was a more orchestral soundtrack for the director's cut.
Now, which one's better? Do you think?
I like Tangerine Dream. I like both of them, but I mean, I prefer Tangerine Dream because I mean, you got the those the 2 songs. But what one is done by, I think it's Yes. And then with the other, and then on top of that, you have like the cool thing is, so this was built on a soundstage and it looks so real.
Yeah.
Stuff. And there was I don't remember if it was something where they had to do a scene with doves, and the doves got stuck inside the set. They couldn't get them out. And there was like moments where they were trying to film a scene and it would just be there, and they'd have to shoo them away, and then they would have to retake the shot. Mia Sara was like, I think 16.
Oh wow, yeah, from Ferris Bueller, right?
Yeah. You had like there's like the quest, like he goes on the quest to get the armor and the sword before
it's so awesome.
He's the whole thing of like them teaming together when they're in the kitchen and stuff, and not trying to be eaten by the orcs. And just everything. And like that scene, like whenever he's at the door to Darkness's room and stuff, and it's just like you just see the light coming through from the fire. It's just fantastic. I mean, the visuals are amazing. The makeup, the set design, everything. I love this movie.
Yeah.
So since Tom Cruise is linked, do his weapons keep breaking in this movie, like Breath of the Wild?
This is pre-Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
This is before Breath of the Wild. This is when we had linked.
Yeah.
Good
Dude, this is 80. This is 85. This is before the first Legend of Zelda. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you know how I said Clash of the Titans I thought was an older movie? I thought for sure this was like a 90s movie. I've never seen this, but just like how good it looks, I was like, oh, this is the 90s. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, 85? This was an 85 movie? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, Tom Cruise is really young in this film.
It's a young Link from Wind Waker.
Yeah.
You got fairies in it too, which we talked about earlier. There was a film with a fairy in it.
There you go. We hit the fairy quota. All right, we're going to go now to Wubs' all-time favorite fantasy movie.
From producer Jerry Bruckheimer, on July 9th, the pirates are coming.
You better start believing in ghost stories. You're in one.
Johnny Depp, Jeffrey Rush, Orlando Bloom, and Keira Knightley in a Gore Verbinski film.
That's interesting.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Pirates of the Caribbean, the Curse of the Black Pearl, Wubs. Your all-time favorite fantasy movie.
Yep. I'm going to get a lot of grief for this. I already know.
I'm not even saying anything because I've never seen this one, so I don't...
well, it suffices to say it's about pirates and ghosts and not so much medieval stuff or settings. The title wasn't obvious. But yeah, no, this is I thought about it a lot this week, and the more I thought about all the movies that I was considering, I was like, this one has everything. It has a great story. It's got the action is fantastic. The filming is great. Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow is the pirate everybody loves and wants to be. He's just, I still think it's probably one of the most iconic characters that any actor has ever portrayed in the history of film would be Jack Sparrow by Johnny Depp. Easily my favorite role he's ever done, and that's saying something because, boy, there's a character actor right there. It's got, like I said, action, comedy, romance. The soundtrack is amazing. It's fantastic music. And just epic orchestral numbers for all these fights with pirates and British infantry men of the time. Big sea battles, right? All these ships fighting with cannons, and on top of that, there's a ghost story where the pirates are all cursed because they've stolen all of this Aztec gold, Cortez's gold from South America. And they took all of these pieces of gold, spent them everywhere, so that these gold pieces have gone all over the world, and they've been collecting them forever because, like, trying to reclaim them because the gold cursed them. When they took the gold, it turned them all into immortals. They couldn't be killed. And so as time went on, they realized like they couldn't feel anything, like they became numb. They couldn't taste anything, but they still had all of the desires of men. So the only way that they could, remove the curse was to retrieve all of the gold pieces, hundreds of pieces of gold from this chest they stole, and put it back to lift the curse. And that's what the story is all about.
Which part is
Johnny Depp happens to be one of those pirates.
Yeah, which one is this? Is this like part 2, part 3?
No, this is the first one. This is the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
First one. Oh, I have seen this one. Yeah, this is a fun one. Yeah. This is the only one I've seen from the Pirates movie. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love this movie. So yeah, I don't know if by our definitions here it would qualify, but yeah, if it does, then yeah, that would be my favorite one.
I think it does. Like pirate movies should count. Like especially pirate movies like that.
Yeah.
Right. It's really a ghost story. Remember when Keira Knightley's on the ship and she gets taken by the pirates and she's freaking out. She goes outside and then she sees the moonlight hit them for the first time and they're all like skeletons. Yeah. And that shows their true form. Like they're actually like these cursed ghosts like creatures. And she screams and what's his name? Jeffrey Rush says, "You best be believing in ghost stories. You're in one."
Dude, that guy is a perfect pirate. That's like a perfect. That's like.
He is fantastic too.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this one, Vince?
Dead Level Podcast.
Oh, I love it. It was just a fun, full adventure. Of course, Johnny Depp is fantastic in anything he does. So, yeah, I mean, I love the whole skeletons. I love that whole thing at the end with the moonlight and stuff, making it where you can see them regular versus not. It was
right.
really great. The special effects were amazing. I mean, this is like peak Disney whenever they were doing really good stuff with films and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This is the Disney I miss, honestly.
Yeah,
like
no kidding. Yeah, around like before 2010, like I think after 2012, it started going downhill. This is like peak right there. This is like right on the wake of Lord of the Rings. So like your expectations are really high. And it kind of like has that same like really epic high budget experience like Lord of the Rings, and even has Orlando Bloom in there.
Yep. 2003, I think, is when it came out. So I think that was right after Two Towers. So he was filming this like at the same time he was still Legolas in those movies.
Yep.
So yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like I just want to mention the choreography of this movie is amazing.
Yeah.
And not just the fight sequences, but just all of the acrobatics that go on. I mean, Johnny Depp, the way that he moves in the movie is amazing. Like just the way like you think he's high because he's basically he's acting like somebody who's got sunstroke and who's drunk at the same time, kind of like he's just all over the place, and yet he's still coherent, and it's sort of this guy who's like off kilter with the rest of the world, but to himself everything makes perfect sense. Like everything he does is like with intention, and he's such a clever sort of pirate character, like to figure out everything that he does. Like he's very smart, very strategic in everything that he does, and so and then he teams up with Orlando Bloom.
Rum, so it's like
that's right. So there was that too.
He's kind of like a drunken master, kind of like he's like
it is kind of like that. It is kind of like that, the way that he moves around. But also the choreography, that's like for all of the action sequences, like when they have the pirate ship, attacked by the British and everything, and they're boarding the ships and everything. Like there's so much chaos going on. And the way that it's filmed is just incredible, I think, to capture all of the action and the choreography. And then the sword fighting was amazing as well. Like some of the best sword fighting, I think, in any movie was in this movie. But with multiple people, too. Not just Johnny Depp, but Orlando Bloom does really great sword fighting in this movie, too.
Yeah, it's top notch.
Thoughts on this one, Tylord? You dig this one?
Oh, no, I like, Yeah, I'm not too crazy about the ones after this, but this one was solid. Like I love this, and it almost like you said, all the choreography. It almost seems. I guess you could say that about the other ones too. It almost seems like a live action cartoon. Like there's so much going on and so much choreography. It doesn't seem like it's possible for all that to be caught on film. I'm sure there's a lot of special effects, but it's just like a treat to the eyes.
So, Wubs, would you say this is the only one worth watching, or you think the other ones are good, the sequels?
I was such a big fan of this one. I think I watched the rest of them just, out of loyalty to the first one, kind of. But I agree with Tylord. Like, I mean, the first one is definitely like the best by far. I don't think any of the others even come close to how good the first one is. But I enjoy Johnny Depp in the role. Like I watch the others literally for Johnny Depp. That's what I'll watch him for, because he gets into wacky, ridiculous situations and scenarios, and some of the stunts he does are just incredible for the character. I don't know if Johnny did all of his own stunts. I'm sure they probably had some people helping him out, but yeah, that's what if you like the action of it and the setting, I think it's worth watching the other films. But I agree that the first one is definitely the best one by far.
So this could be like a standalone. You just watch this one and
you can watch this one without the other one. Yeah,
I remember seeing.
I wouldn't say it's like to the level of the Matrix, like where if you're gonna watch the Matrix movies, I'd highly recommend you just watch the first one.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah,
I like all three.
It's like a perfect movie.
Three.
Vin said, "Excuse me, princess." And I like all three.
Right. Well, I to be fair, I do like the second one parts of it. Like I love the second one up until the end of the freeway chase. I'd say it's really good. The whole French guy thing with the chateau was a little weird, but I could let it slide.
But we like Monica. We like Monica Bellucci though. Huh?
Right, yeah, Bond girl before Bond girl in Matrix Reloaded. Yep. Yeah. She's great in that for sure. But the freeway chase in the second one is amazing. I will give you that.
Oh yeah,
like, that is everybody should see it just for that, just to watch that action sequence. It's still incredible.
I mean, hey, look, the last one, not number 4, but number 3, as far as the trilogy. That Smith and Neo fight was amazing. I'm sorry, but like that was the closest we're ever going to get to a Dragon Ball Z film. I mean, there was like Goku and Vegeta fighting.
Yeah, that's true. It was a great fight. I love the
things about all of them. Yeah,
I like the Smith Neo fight in the second one as well. The park, or the second and last time he sees the well, not the last time. The last time he sees the original actress playing the Oracle. That's a great fight, and the music is great. I'll give you that. The music is great in all of them. Sorry, getting off topic a little bit. But no, I would recommend
you want to put
watch all of the.
You want to put the Matrix as your number 1 fantasy movie now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I would do that. I actually would do that. But I think we'd count that as sci-fi, so I wouldn't put it here. But if we were counting sci-fi movies as fantasy, it would definitely be my first pick.
But this Pirates one, I remember I was dating a girl, and she's like, "Oh, I really want to go watch this," and I was like, I don't want to go watch this Disney shit. Pirates, but I remember watching. I was like, "Man, this is cool!" Like it was the action in the movie. It sold. It hooked me, and I never got to watch the sequels. And I always wanted to go back and watch them, but now I know. I watched the best one, so I would like to rewatch the first one.
At least watch the trilogy. Don't worry about the other.
Well, I would say though, Vince, like I actually liked Stranger Tides, I think, more than the second 2 in the trilogy. Personally, I don't know, maybe that's a hot take, but
could be. Yeah.
As I remember, like I just it was strange. I think because Dead Men Tell No Tales was the last one, right? I think Stranger Tides was before that. I think Stranger Tides is the one with what's his name? The guy from John Wick.
Wait.
Oh yeah, Harvey. Yeah. Javier Bardem, but no, the guy who plays Blackbeard.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, right? He's the head of the hotel in John Wick.
Yeah.
Like,
he
that
died.
guy's name?
He's
Jonathan. Damn it, Walter or something. I know it too.
Something Price, maybe. I can't remember.
I got a question.
He's in American Gods too, the TV series.
Yeah.
I got a real question for you, Wubs. Would you rather sword fight Davy Jones or live a year with Amber Heard as your wife?
Oh God, I'll take that Davy. I'll take that sword fight with Davy Jones. At least I might get through it with my balls. I'll take the sword fight with Davy Jones.
Yeah, dog.
All right. Yeah, very cool. Very cool pick. All right, I'm going to go to my So that was your all-time favorite fantasy one. I'm gonna go to. This is the final one. My favorite fantasy movie of all time.
I believe you. So what happens now?
We face each other as God intended. Sportsmanlike. No tricks, no weapons. Skill against skill alone.
You mean you'll put down your rock and I'll put down my sword and we'll try and kill each other like civilized people?
Can kill you now.
Frankly, I think the odds are slightly in your favor at hand.
Yeah, so my favorite's The Princess Bride. We already talked about this one, but unlike, sorry to bring this up again, Ryan, if you're watching, unlike The Never-Ending Story, when I rewatched this one again the last couple of weeks, I was like, man, this movie it's even better than I remembered it as a kid. And maybe there's some bias because it's, I'm a wrestling fan. You can see my hope, my shrine to the Hulkster, my white stepdad. Maybe I'm biased because, Andre the Giant's in it, but it's just such a fun movie. It's just like quirky, witty, and I think my favorite character at the end was what's his name? Inigo Montoya.
Inigo Montoya, yeah.
I kind of dug his story.
Yes.
It's just fun.
My father had to die.
Yeah, I don't even think the guy he's supposed to be Spanish, right? Is the actor really Spanish?
No, he's not really Spanish.
Yeah, but just fun. I found myself laughing at during the movie, and it's the choreography is really really good. Like Andre's in there. I don't know if you guys have seen. There's like an interview where the actors talked about kind of the shit that Andre the Giant went through, and they kind of felt bad for him. Like when he had to catch the girl, right? That his back was hurting, and they were like doing take after take, and he's like, "No, I'm good. I'll keep doing it." And, it's just a great movie, fun movie. This is one where I was like, "Why don't I own this?" Like after I had to buy it digitally because I'm like, I need to buy this. So that's why I knew I'm like, yeah, this movie's awesome. I need to get the 4K. I don't know if there's a 4K.
Do you have it on VHS?
No, but I actually saw it today on VHS, but I'm like, nah.
Because I have an extra one if you want it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, because
if you want a DVD, I can definitely get you a DVD because there were a ton of them at my local thrift shop the last time I was there.
Oh, really? Because I couldn't find this on any streaming service. Like it's not on any of the ones I have. I'm like, God damn, I have to buy this digitally. I think I was gonna rent it, and I saw it was $5.99 for a rental, and then $7.99 to buy it. So I'm like, I'll just buy it for $2.
Yeah,
might as well just buy it. But it's got our boy Andre. Can we hear that quote again, Tylord, from Andre the Giant?
Anybody want a peanut?
and I like that the dude in black puts him in a sleeper hole too.
Yeah.
He puts him in a sleeper hole like Brutus the Barber.
Yeah.
All right, so we went through our whole list. The only ones that like overlapped, I think, just Tylord and I both had Wizard of Oz, Clash of the Titans, The Princess Bride. I think everything else was
unique.
Unique.
Yeah.
Nobody else had Ghostbusters on their list. Surprisingly, I'm just kidding. But let's go through some honorable mentions. Vince, any that didn't crack the top 5 that were like right there for you?
Well, I would be amiss for not saying this. Labyrinth for one.
Yeah.
I mean, Jennifer Connelly. Come on, that's my girl.
Yeah.
So, and David Bowie, the whole musical.
Yeah.
The Jim Henson character creatures that he's known for. Just a fantastic journey fantasy adventure.
Yeah. That's a great adventure fantasy. That almost reminds me of Super Mario Brothers or something, like this, the weird wacky world they're in. Yeah.
And I guess the other one would be Highlander.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that on Google when I Googled fantasy movies, but I've never seen that Highlander.
Would mention that one.
What about you, Wubs? Any that were right there on the cusp of making your top 5?
There were a lot that were, I guess, technically not medieval, but I'll mention them anyway. between the two of us, Tylord and I actually sort of joked about this, that one of us should pick a Bond movie just to mess with you guys. And if I was going to do that, it was going to be Die Another Day, because it's just such a ridiculous movie, like over the top. Tech is insane, you know, like the villain is totally nuts. Like he has a total, like basically this Korean dude becomes a white guy, you know, in the story through the magic of plastic surgery with ridiculous technology that doesn't exist and probably never will. So yeah, that's sort of like one of my picks. The other one I thought of after we talked about stuff. You know, technically,
Wubs, you're
turning into the Matrix, man.
He's turning into
I thought that was me. That you guys are hearing it too.
He's turning into Bumblebee.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, maybe repeat that.
He's getting covered.
Can you hear me now?
Liquid.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was gonna say. Yeah, I'm getting gold membered over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Live and Let Die, because of all the voodoo stuff in that Bond film, right? And Baron Samedi technically lives, right? Because he's on the train and you know, like, dead, shot in the head, like. The magic food, right?
Turning into a Decepticon again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Soundwave.
Soundwave.
Is that okay? So it's not me. Yeah.
He's turning into.
How about heavy metal?
Oh, right. Yeah.
I thought about that. I did think about that one.
Yeah.
That's technically more sci-fi, probably, but she does ride a pterodactyl and swing a sword. So you know.
Yeah, that last segment is very fantasy. I don't know if it's supposed to be post-apocalyptic, right? But it seems very fantasy.
Right.
It's supposed to be in the future.
Yeah.
It's after everything that the Lochnar had basically corrupted on the Earth.
And I also want to mention every Miyazaki movie.
Oh, you're glitching out.
Wait.
Like basically
you're glitching out, Wubs.
Glitching out. Wait, repeat that.
I want to mention basically every Miyazaki movie.
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
There you go. There, we can hear you right
now. Okay.
Okay. I wanted to mention basically every Miyazaki movie because so many of them have fantasy elements.
Yeah.
You know, like there's elements of, like, if you like fantasy as a concept, if you like magic and wonder and stuff like that, definitely check out like basically any Miyazaki movie.
Yeah.
My favorites are Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, and what was the one where Mark Hamill did the voice of the villain?
That's
in the late 80s. It was like right after that.
Castle in the Sky, Lupita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Castle in the Sky. Those are like my two
Be
favorites.
careful how I say that, because it could be very close to a cuss word that shouldn't be said. House Moving Castle.
Oh, and
definitely.
Batman. Yeah. What's that?
Batman. House Moving Castle would definitely.
No, go ahead. Oh yeah. House Moving Castle. True. That's a great one too. It's one of my favorites.
What about?
I was going to mention just comic book stuff in general. If any of that, I know I chose Doctor Strange because I thought, okay, this is dealing more directly with magic or whatever. But I think, like we said, you could make an argument for Thor or some of those.
Yeah.
You're glitching out, Wubs. Can he try to exit and come back in? Will that fix it?
It might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try to leave and then come back. Or do we need to call him to bring him back?
No, he should be. It's already in the group, so he should be able to join it again.
What about you, Tylord? Any honorable mentions?
Okay. I have quite a few. I don't want to name all of them, but some of the ones that just barely didn't make the list, and I was so hesitant. Like, I wanted to change my list, but I didn't because I thought maybe you would have already got the clips and all that. One I really wanted to put on there, but I couldn't, was the Rankin and Bass cartoon, The Last Unicorn.
Yes. Yes.
It's so good. It's such that screams fantasy there. It's about a unicorn that turns into a human girl, and she's trying to. All the unicorns have been chased off the edge of the world by a Red Bull, and this is another one I really think Zelda got a lot of inspiration from. It's got I think Jeff Bridges plays a knight in it, and Mia Farrow does a voice, and then our girl Angela Lansbury plays a witch in this, and even Christopher Lee plays the villain. And this is such a cool fantasy movie. It almost gives me like Zelda vibes, the type of scenery and setting in this. And the last the boss of this is the Red Bull that chases the unicorns into the sea. It really gives me Ganon vibes, especially in Breath of the Wild. At the end, you fight the big pig version of Ganon, and he's a big giant burning like fire pig. It really looks like the last or the Red Bull in this movie. It's a really sinister character that's kind of like the dog on Christopher Lee's leash that chases all the unicorns off because he hates everything beautiful in life because like he lost something. I can't remember what it was, but it's a really cool little cartoon. Really good animation, like a kind of a really creepy one of the kind of those like creepy cartoons that like kind of would get under your skin, like kind of, but really beautiful, a really cool movie. Last Unicorn, I'd have that one. Another one, Kroll from the 80s. I thought Vince would have picked that one. The guy that has, he has like the boomerang star he throws. The girl in there is freaking hot too. What's her name? Lisette Anthony, and Liam Neeson's in that too. That's a really cool. It's kind of like sci-fi mixed with fantasy. It kind of looks like Star Wars combined with Conan. Speaking of Star Wars combined with Conan, Yor, the Hunter of the Future, a really cool Italian fantasy movie. It's like a He-Man looking guy. He's like, I don't know if it's like in the caveman days, but like he actually fights with like spaceships at the end. Like there's a like Star Wars looking characters at the end he fights with. He's like a He-Man looking guy though, but Yor, Hunter of the Future, you should really check that one out if you haven't. Reb Brown is in it. I think he was a football player. And Corinne Cleary, a Bond girl, is in that one. And then, I think that's it for my honorable mentions. I could go on all day, but
I'm gonna just say this real quick. Hook.
Yeah.
Hook.
Hook. Yes. Hook. Another good pirate one. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's a great movie.
Yeah, I was thinking about what about Peter Pan? Would that have been considered a fantasy one?
Yep.
The cartoon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel kind of bad now because Hook might have made it onto my list if I thought about that more as fantasy. That's a great film.
Yeah, it is.
And that was a big one for me when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's when I was a kid. I loved that movie. The action figures and the video game for the Super Nintendo, which I still think is one of the best like film to game adaptations ever.
There was a darn good there was an arcade beat 'em up that was really good too. I don't know if you ever played that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey,
I didn't.
Just like Willow, right? Willow had a fun beat 'em up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I got you, Wubs on.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Are you ever at work and then you want like a candy bar from the vending machine and you're like a quarter short, so you like go scrounging in your car, looking under the seat, looking for that loose change?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt trying to come up with my 5. I was like, do I even know 5 fantasy movies? I was like Googling, like, okay. So then I think I watched like 7 movies. So I watched Conan the Barbarian also. I didn't really dig that one. I don't know what else I watched. Oh, Neverending Story. That one didn't crack it. But then I thought about it today. I was like, I really liked Peter Pan, so I guess that would have been another honorable mention. But very cool.
There were a few others I wanted to mention.
Go ahead.
Fire and Ice. Did you guys ever see
Yes.
Yes. Oh, how could I have forgotten that one? Yeah.
Yeah. Fire and Ice and Excalibur was really good. I saw Excalibur for the first time actually like last year. One of my thrift store finds, and I couldn't believe how good it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. You got more Wubs, or is that
Dragon Slayer?
No, that's it.
Oh yeah,
that's it. Like you. I could go on all day. I think we all could.
But so that very cool. We went through our list, honorable mentions, but Tylord knows this. Well, what comes next, Tylord? Let's hear it.
It's that time. It's the quiz, or what do you call it, trivia, or the quiz.
It's tradition around here to play a little trivia. To play a little trivia game at the end of the podcast. So we're gonna have a little three-way match between Vince, Tylord, and Wubs after this commercial break.
Hey, it's Lucky, making his Lucky Charms.
Hi, with me, Rainbow Magic.
We've got magic too, you know.
But can you make hearts, stars, and horseshoes, clovers, and blue moons, pots of gold and rainbows, and me red balloons?
Well, not exactly.
Ha-ha!
But like magic, we can make them disappear.
Marshmallowy Lucky Charms, a tasty part of this good breakfast. That's me Lucky Charms.
They're magically delicious.
Any of you guys still eat Lucky Charms?
I wish.
Me too. I wish, but
if I buy that stuff, if I buy it, my girls just eat out the mushroom, or they eat out the marshmallows, and they just leave the rest. So I don't buy it anymore.
How sad is it now that like I would so crave like even just the regular pieces without the marshmallows, with just like milk, you know, like just that massive bowl of carbs. Like, but I'm not gonna do that to myself.
No.
So again, I'm gonna ask. This is gonna be the quiz. I'm gonna ask you guys 10 questions having to do with fantasy movies. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
All right. You guys can hear me fine. I'm gonna ask you 10 questions. Say "got it" if you got it, and then whoever has the most right wins. So first question: in The Wizard of Oz, what is the Tin Man looking for?
Got it.
I got Tylord first.
Heart.
You
did? Oh, okay.
Tylord.
If I only had a heart.
Tylord is on the board. There you go. You got it right. Sprinkle some fairy dust on you. Which 2006 film, written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, is set in Spain in 1940? All right, Tylord got it.
My other one that you stole from me, Pan's Labyrinth.
All right. 2-0 for Tylord right here. All right. Question number 3. Which actor plays the part of Captain Shakespeare in the 2007 film Stardust?
Got it. Okay. Wubs got it.
Wubs.
That's Robert De Niro. Is that right?
You got some fairy dust on you.
I was gonna say
nice.
I was gonna say Daniel Craig.
Hey, Golden Compass. That's one we
yeah,
forgot.
that's the one. Okay, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. That was the wrong movie. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
All right. Next question. In which 2014 film does Angelina Jolie play the part of a powerful fairy living in the moors?
Got it.
Who was first?
Got it.
Who said it? Maleficent.
Who was first?
Tylord.
Tylord? All right.
Maleficent. No. Maleficent.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
All right. So Tylord's up 3, Wubs 1. Let's see. Next one. Who plays the part of the Goblin King in the 1986 film? All right. Yeah. I heard, I think, DLP first, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I should have known that was the Goblin King. Yeah.
Well, you said first, right, Vince?
Yeah, Vince. Yeah, Vince said
what
first.
Is it?
David Bowie.
There you go. Let's give you some fairy dust here.
I mean, it's close. I'm going to get both Labyrinth things.
Yeah, you guys are gonna have to work on the honor system because I'm like looking at the questions, so I can't really see you guys. Your icons light up. Okay, next one. Which film was based on a character created by Robert E. Howard?
Got it.
I see Vince. Vince first.
Conan.
Oh wow, good one.
Nice.
I actually talked about Darren when we talked about Conan.
Yeah.
So Tylord 3, Wubs 1, Vince 2. Next one. Jason and the Argonauts is well known for the masterful stop motion animation.
Got it.
That was a close. I don't know who was first. I think I heard Vince first.
I said it first, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right,
you're talking about Ray Harryhausen, or you're talking about the stop motion? What he was doing?
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't hear the full question. I just jumped in.
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah, you got it. Harryhausen. All right, so it's tied up right now. 3-3, and Wubs. Got to catch up, Wubs. All right, next one. Which actor voiced Aslan the Lion?
Got it.
I see Tylord, I think, was first.
Got it.
I got it.
Liam Neeson. Who said it? Was it me?
Tylord had it.
Tylord.
Okay, Liam Neeson.
I think there's those guys. I see it flash on my end sooner, so I think my internet's kind of screwing me here. But just it's all good.
It's okay. It's that damn internet. Let's see. All right, last two.
Yeah.
What type?
I promise I'm not this terrible.
Man, I wouldn't have got any of these fucking questions right, though. You would have been doing better than me. What type of animal are Chihiro's parents turned into in Spirited? I saw Vince.
They're turned into pigs.
Oh, good one.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you guys are tied 4-4. Unfortunately, the internet screwed you, Wubs.
Yeah.
But you got on the board.
Yep. Wouldn't be the first time.
So this last...
Yeah, it's been screwing you all night.
Not in the good way either.
Yeah.
All right,
Not in the good way.
Final question, so you can go to the tiebreaker right here. Because you guys are Tylord and Vince are tied 4-4. Last one. The 1986 film Highlander.
Got it.
All right. You didn't hear the rest of the questions. You have to,
no, I don't. So I'm gonna
go. What the hell?
There's three people. There's three people there, so it's like it's okay. I'm just gonna guess.
Well, you get one guess, Vince.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get a guess. Let's see. Sean Connery.
Sorry, we're gonna have to feed you to the dragon. Huh?
Okay.
All right, so you're.
Wait, can we guess? Got it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Wubs. But I'm not reading the rest of it. If you say got it,
you have to just guess.
Yeah, fine. If it's not Sean Connery, it's Christopher Lambert.
Okay.
Do you want me to finish the rest of the question?
Yeah. What's the rest?
Finish it.
You guys have to let me finish the question.
Just finish the question.
I'm not going to say Clancy Brown.
Yeah. The 1986 film Highlander features a Frenchman cast as a Scotsman and a Scotsman cast as a noble from where?
Oh,
from Spain.
There you go. From Spain. There you go.
Yeah. Can you find another question so we can actually do that right?
Well, that's it. That's
You're
it.
mad it wasn't Sean Connery.
Well, you guys didn't let me finish the question.
I know I didn't.
So Tylord wins. That was a close one, though. 5-4. 5-4.
Yeah, if you didn't get so overzealous, you would have got that.
Well, my other thing would have been Queen, because they could have said who was who.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, I don't even remember who the director is. Who's the director of that?
I don't remember either right now. Let me see.
Yeah.
So you guys were chomping at the bit, I think.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Damn. All right. All
All for no prize.
All for no prize.
Except being the fantasy champion.
You're the fantasy champion, which means
I'm a champ. I'm a champion in my fantasies.
Yeah.
Which means it's not even real and shit. All right. Well, we're gonna take a commercial break and come back and wrap it up.
They're the cutest sky dancers yet. Wow, tiny little sky dancers. They're the sky dancers. Wow, the tiniest ones I've ever met. Even tiny baby animals too. Nice hat, sky dancers pup. But now it's time to fly up, up, up.
They're the teeniest, tiniest Sky Dancers. New Sky Dancers fairy flyers, each with adorable little launchers.
They're so small, I can collect them all. Sky dancers fly just for me.
New Sky Dancers fairy flyers. Dolls and launcher sets each sold separately. New from Galoo.
All right.
Oh, there's the sky dancers you sent my daughter. She loved that thing.
Yeah, the ones that were delisted off eBay.
Yeah.
I sent Tylord some Sky Dancers toys from the 90s.
Yeah.
And I guess they were taken off my eBay store because they're dangerous for kids.
Too dangerous. Yeah, they are pretty dangerous. Yeah, Sarah loves that. You pull the little zips stick and it flies like with propellers. It has little fairy wings.
Yeah,
those things could probably take your eye out.
It's funny. G.I. Joe had like these little big helicopters. You would put your Joes.
Yeah.
You did the same thing, and they'd fly up in the air.
Yeah. See,
honorable mention Deathstalker. I forgot. I had the Blu-ray or I had the laser disc.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention Deathstalker. Shout out to Deathstalker.
Yeah, very cool. Late honorable mention there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for coming on the podcast. I'm gonna go through here. Wubs, tell them where they can find you.
On me at 5.
Oh man, hold on, you're breaking out.
Like I said,
Oh man, every time you talk.
Yeah, you're glitching out.
Yeah.
Why don't you try to leave and come back? I'll go to some.
Hey, Tib.
There you go, Vince. Tell the people where they can find you.
All right, so you can find me on YouTube under Dad Level Podcast. I'm also on X under the same name, Dad Level Podcast. Don't do too much on there. I'm on Instagram as Vince Shooter, and then that's where you can find me.
Tylord.
Other than hiding in Discord.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Tylord, where can they find you?
Tylord Stevenson on YouTube, where Wubs and I upload our James Bond discussion videos. We're currently going through every Bond movie. We're up to Goldfinger. We're doing an in-depth discussion on Goldfinger. We should have that uploaded. I should have that uploaded within a week. It's taken me a while. Other than that, just video game and movie related pickup stuff. And then I'm on Instagram at Tylord79 if you want to talk to me.
Very cool. And hopefully, Wubs, we can hear you good now. Where can they find you, Wubs?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at _ my top 5. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can hear you.
Okay. And at _ my top 5, I do interviews about 5 favorite video games, and we're going to eventually get into movies. Like I said, Retro Tiburon's video is next. I've already done one for Dead Level Podcast title, so go check those out. Everybody has different picks. The videos are long format podcast interviews, so we talk about their favorite games and memories that we both have, and I include a lot of game music and from everything we talk about. So it's a great place to go learn about games and get some nostalgia for some of the best games ever made.
Let me translate, because Wubs is talking in Decepticon again. You can find Wubs at my top 5 on YouTube. He's been interviewing. He's interviewed Tylord. He's interviewed Vince. He's interviewed Retro Ryan. He's interviewed me, and he does videos where he asks us what are your favorite video games and of all time, and he does a really good job with putting the videos together and putting music behind it, and talking about the stories linked to those games that we rank as our top 5 favorite. And you can find him on Tylord's YouTube channel at Tylord Stevenson with the best of Bond podcast. But for all the audio listeners, I'll put the links to all their channels and their socials on the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll put in the description. So just go down there. Just go down there.
Yeah, make sure you check out for a newcomer to YouTube. Wubs is a super pro. He has really great videos so far. And Vince is a seasoned veteran. You got to go watch his stuff. He has great podcasts.
Yeah. Vince got the knowledge.
Thank you, Tylord.
Yeah, for sure. And Wubs killing it with those videos. Top 5 videos.
Yeah, great work.
Yeah,
with all
editing.
Thank you. You guys have been inspiring to me to do it. So I give you all the credit for motivating into it.
Thank you. I'll help out when I can, man.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool.
I appreciate it.
But before we go ahead.
I did want to mention. Just one more thing. I have a new show I'm doing with our mutual friend Chrome, and it's called Wubs and Chrome's Weekly Rant on his channel. I'll give you the link to basically and Chrome about everything. We give our 2 cents on, and that's pop culture, media, video games, movies. Political at times, so it's like a much bigger deep dive into like just our thoughts on whatever's going on at the moment. With primarily these days we're focused on the video game industry and things happening there. But that's another show you can check out if you're interested in that stuff.
Yeah, just
Tylord's watched it. I know that.
Yeah,
a few times.
Yeah, just whatever links you want me to add outside of like your YouTube channel, just like DM them on Discord to me, so then I can just put them on the audio notes and the YouTube. So that's it, guys. As for me, let's see, what am I gonna plug? Leave me a review, goddammit, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts at the Retro Wave. You can go to retrotiburon.com. I got merch there. Shirt right here, like the one I'm wearing, the one Tylord's wearing right there, the Tiburon Hollywood Hogan one. At Retro Tiburon on YouTube. I do gaming live streams, podcasts, swap meet videos, energy drink reviews, everything. But before we go, I've been doing this thing where I ask the guests for a piece of advice, something that the listeners can take with them in this journey of life. So I'm gonna ask Vince, what's a piece of advice maybe somebody gave to you? Maybe your dad. Maybe your dad Floyd gave to you that's really stuck with you, that you want to give out there to the world.
Well, I'll give you some advice that I have that I've learned just recently, and is that when you're struggling with things and going through depression or whatever, don't be afraid to reach out to friends and family to seek help, even just having a conversation, whatever. Don't let it bottle up inside. Don't let it fester, because it'll. It can ruin your health. It can ruin your life, and there's help out there for it.
Yeah, very good advice. Wubs, piece of advice, something you want to give out there, put out there in the world.
Give something that was passed down from my grandfather to my dad to me, and that is a general rule of thumb: never pay retail.
Right. Yeah.
Certainly Vince's advice will give you good mental, physical health. My advice will hopefully make you wealthy faster than you've always been.
What about you, Tylord? Give us a piece of
I guess
advice.
I'll stay with the fantasy theme this week or this month. Always set your priorities straight. Be responsible and pay your bills and take care of your family. But always set aside a little bit of time to watch a good movie or read a comic book or play a video game, so you don't get overwhelmed. And a nice little escape. Set aside a little bit of time for some escapism and some fantasy. But set your priorities straight. But always set aside a little bit of time for that escapism. You could watch one of these movies we just talked about.
All right, very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool, guys. Thanks again. See you guys on the other side.
Peace out.
Peace.